Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote, the weekly show where we introduce to some of the best creators from all over the world, and we find out more about them by taking your questions. I'm your host, Ryan of And I Quote channel, and our guest on this episode is, and by the way, this is something I never thought I would hear myself say, but on this episode and on this channel, for the very first time ever, going to be talking with best-selling writer Jana Eisenstein, and we're going to be talking about something known as online dating. Yeah, that's right. You heard me right, folks. Jana, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, we're fine. We're all fine here. No, thank you. How are you? Anyway, there's your Star Wars quote for the day, folks. So just to give everyone a heads up, if you do have youngins, we are going to be talking about online dating, which may or may not contain adult content and adult language. Viewer or listener discretion may or may not be advised. So if you have youngins, you may want to tell them to go to the playroom or another side of the house, because we're going to get real serious here real quick. With all due respect, but outside of all that stuff, don't forget to like and share with this video, I should say, with your friends. If you have any questions for our writer Jana Eisenstein, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat, and if you're watching us live or on the replay, also known as Memorex, there's a throwback for you, Jana. Hello there, and welcome in. So now that that piece of business has been put to the side and out of the way, Jana, I'm just curious, did you have any favorite books or writers when you were growing up as a youngin?
I mean, my favorite writer was Dave Barry. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a humorist. So he wrote for the Miami Herald and wrote a bunch of books. He's still out there writing, very prolific. He even had a TV show for a little while called Dave's World. I think it had 3 seasons, but I pretty much consumed everything he wrote.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with this individual, so I'll have to do a bit of a Google search, as one might say. See if I can find some of his columns or books and things of that nature. But that's understandable. What would you say are some of your favorite movies, past or present?
Oh, that's tricky. I don't really have favorite anythings. Things change all the time. But I think for a while I was stuck on the movie Groundhog Day. I was sort of stuck in a perpetual Groundhog Day loop, if you will. But that was like one movie I could watch over and over and over again. And I went through a very weird period of my life, may or may not be over, where I am a little obsessed with Bill Murray.
I mean, nothing wrong with watching either that or his past history with Stripes, Ghostbusters 2. There's another movie called Lost in Translation that he was in. With a very young up and coming at that time, ScarJo, which is insane.
Yeah, I know. Can you imagine?
Yeah, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, I believe, is another one.
Yes, Caddyshack. That one's a little harder to watch. Some of his older stuff is, these days doesn't necessarily hold up the same way, but still very funny.
That's a fair point. It's in the hole. No. I mean, and when the books topple over in Ghostbusters, they said, "Does this ever happen to you before?" No. First time? You're right. No human being could stack books this high. Jeez. Oh, it's so good. I mean, it just occurred to me, we never really had a successful test of this equipment yet. I blame myself. So do I. Ghostbusters is so quotable. It's so quotable. Gosh, I can't help myself but laugh the first 45 minutes because it's just nonstop, one-liner after another. You ever find yourself laughing at that one?
Oh yeah, I mean, Ghostbusters is one of those. I think you can just bring it out, watch it with anybody, anytime, and people will love it. Even I have 2 young nephews in my sister's family, and they love goofy stuff like that. I mean, there's some things you kind of have to just gloss over, maybe not explain some of the ghost scenes, the ghost dream scenes, but otherwise it's a lot of fun.
That's very true. Very true. Wow, Groundhog Day. I haven't heard. I mean, I've seen the movie a couple of times. Yes, I just haven't seen it in a while. I need to go back and revisit that because it's definitely very funny. My favorite part is where he punches out the guy he's so sick and tired of talking to. He's like,
Yes.
"Hey, Phil, Ned."
Yes.
Just knocks him out. It's great, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, it gets a little repetitive, but every time his reaction to it is fantastic.
And let's not forget, what about Bob? You know.
Oh yeah, that's true. I
Yeah.
remember I think I've only seen that once. I grew up, I remember enjoying it, but I think I've only seen that once. Can't really quote it.
It's okay. You can always go back. I'm sure when you have an opportunity to do so, you can always go back and revisit it.
I'm sure I could find a place safe.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun movie. And Richard Dreyfuss was just on TV the other day talking about the 50th anniversary of Jaws. So.
Oh, I know. For some reason, that's on the news these days. I guess there's nothing else going on in the world.
Well, I mean, the 50th anniversary of Jaws is a big deal because, it's not every day you hear that a movie turns 50. So.
It's true. Don't talk about it.
No, and Jaws is the first summer blockbuster. So you got to give it, some cred. Got to give it some some credentials here, as one might say. It makes us terrified to go back in the water. So. Yeah, thanks to Bruce the Shark, right?
Was that his name, Bruce?
Well, that's what Spielberg named it when they were working with it on set. He called it Bruce the Shark. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not a very scary name.
No, it's not. And they make fun of it in a lot of different movies. Have you ever seen the movie Finding Nemo? There's a scene where Nemo's dad runs into a shark and he says, "My name is Bruce." And that's an homage to Steven Spielberg's movie Jaws.
Wow. Didn't make that connection.
So
this is why I do these shows. This is very exciting for me.
It's a beautiful thing. We learn something new every day in this world, folks. It's truly amazing. Outside of movies, do you have any favorite TV series, past or present?
I really loved 30 Rock. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am. Yeah, that's turn on the charm, a little Julia Roberts laugh.
Exactly. Yeah, I anything Tina Fey does, really, I love. But 30 Rock was kind of my entree into Tina Fey's world, and it hooked me. It was fantastic.
Do you have a favorite episode? Is there a favorite episode of 30 Rock that you really like?
Well, I don't think I could choose just one. I mean, the sandwich day when they all had the Teamster subs. I like a sandwich, so that kind of spoke to me.
Sandwich. Nothing wrong with a sandwich. There you go. Nothing wrong with that at all. But yeah, good point. Obviously, Mean Girls is one of the bigger things that brought her to fame between her and Amy Poehler. So there you go.
Yeah, that duo, that team up of Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, that's dynamic.
It is, isn't it? I'm not just any mom. I'm a cool mom. Remember when she says that to the girl, the Plastics?
Yes.
And it's so funny because Rachel McAdams, who plays, Regina George, right? Queen of the Plastics. She was, what was it like? I can't remember I think it was like, I don't think 5 is the number. I think it was more like 8 years, 10 years older than Lindsay Lohan was in the movie, but she pulled it off very well to play a 16-year-old. She may have been 8 years older than the lead actress, but at the same time, she made it work with the blonde hair.
Oh yeah. I mean, and she looked very mature and bitchy. It was great.
Very mature and bitchy. There you go. There's our parental guidance suggested for this episode.
Oh yeah.
Just see, I gave everyone the heads up, so it's happening, guys. It's in the words of The Office. Oh my God, it's happening! Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. Well, what's going on here? What's the procedure? Stay fracking calm. I'm sure you've seen Office, right? You've seen The Office or Parks and Rec at all?
Yes, yeah, I have.
Okay.
Parks and Rec, I think I liked more than The Office. I know that might be an unpopular opinion, but I liked Parks and Rec more.
It's okay. To each their own. It's okay. There's nothing wrong. It's from the same, somewhat same creative teams that, did the same stuff. So it's okay.
Yeah.
It's in the family.
What's your favorite show? Do you have one?
Are you referring to favorite show as in sitcom or just favorite show like overall in general of all time?
Just general of all time.
All right. Well, this is going to come as a bit of a shock to you, but my favorite show of all time, because there's so many great ones out there, folks. There's so many great ones. I'm going to say Smallville. Smallville. Smallville, it was a DC Universe live action show in the 2000s about young boy Clark Kent growing up in this town of the same name in Kansas long before he becomes Superman. And it starred Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum, Kristen Crook as Lana Lang. Hello, Kristen. Erica Durance as Lois Lane. Hello, Erica. Yeah, you're sensing a pattern here. But yeah, Smallville is my favorite show because it made me a Superman fan. It made me more of a DC Comics fan than I already was. It just made me an uber fan of the property. And not only that, Smallville got me through a difficult time in my life. So I have to give Smallville credit here. And obviously Clark Kent, Superman, is a very hopeful, character. If anyone's familiar with, Superman as a whole, I mean, he's only been around for 80 plus years. It's a long time, Jana. It's a long time.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it.
Probably, probably so. But yeah, I would say Smallville is my favorite show because it got me through not only a difficult time, but it's just a really good show in general. So if you haven't seen it before, if you're not familiar with it, go on Hulu/Disney Plus, because Disney Plus, Hulu are all owned by the same people. Go on Hulu, stream Smallville. It ran for 10 seasons, 218 episodes. Obviously, some episodes stand out more so than others because when you're writing a 22 episode season, you can find some bad ones, some filler episodes that don't really make a whole lot of sense. But to me, the positive outweighs the negative. So if you want to learn more about the DC Comics history, feel free to visit Smallville. You ever heard of that one before?
Yeah, I've watched Smallville. I haven't watched all 10 seasons, but I watched a couple of seasons. And didn't the person who played Lois, didn't she end up in one of those sex cults? I believe.
Well, not Lois. That was Erica Durant's, but Allison Mack, who played Chloe Sullivan, unfortunately,
yes, she did.
She got involved in what was known as Nexium.
Yes.
And she made mistakes, went away for a while. She served her time. She's out. She's living her life, and I wish her all the best because she was. But not to get on a. I'm not trying to get on a soapbox here, but she was manipulated. So
yeah, they all were.
She was vulnerable. Sure. She was taken advantage of when she shouldn't have been. And yes, she made a lot of mistakes, but they weren't entirely her fault because she was manipulated by the guy who ran the whole gosh darn thing, and he's an idiot. So that's a story for another day entirely. But and here's a somewhat of a, I wouldn't say it's a fun fact, but this is an interesting piece of interesting things of note. I did meet with Allison Mack at a Comic-Con. She was in our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. many moons ago before. By the way, this took place before she was arrested for what she did. So please be respectful of when I say this. She was at a Comic-Con. She was a guest at AwesomeCon, which is in Washington, D.C. every year. And I met her. She and I talked about Smallville, and I asked her by the way, she was very nice to me and all the fans who came to see her that weekend. She was very nice, very respectful. She would love talking to you about Smallville or other things that you were interested in. She just liked talking with people. And I said to Alice, I said, would you be willing to do the Lois and Clark New Adventures of Superman pose in our photo op later, where, Lois is standing behind Clark and she rips open his shirt to reveal the S shield. She says, oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. And we did. And the photo op turned out really, really well. I believe it's on our Instagram account at @AndIQuote Channel, which you can find, here's the name tag. If you're on Instagram, you can find it there. But if not, it's on my Facebook page. But if you want me to send you a picture of it, just let me know and I'll send it to you. But that was one up to that point. That was my favorite pro photo op I got at a Comic-Con. And then her situation came up. She went away for a while. I had to, it's still going to hold a special place in my heart. Don't get me wrong. But years later, I met Clark Kent and Lex Luthor, Tom Welling, and Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville, and then we got a photo op together in my Smallville cosplay.
Oh, that's
and
very
cool. I was standing in between them, and they looked at me and they said, dude, you look good in this outfit. I said, thank you. I waited 18 years to meet you guys and to show you this outfit. So I had the red jacket, the blue shirt, the pair of blue jeans, a pair of boots. And I walked up to Michael, and Michael's like, oh, he's like, hey, yeah, man, you look good. It's like, thanks, man. Appreciate it. So that photo op is on my social media. So you can definitely find that. That now is my favorite photo op of all time. Because when
that sounds very cool.
When you're standing between Lex Luthor and Clark Kent, I mean, that's life goals. So, but yeah. So anyway, I know that's a very long answer, but yes, Smallville's my favorite, and that's my favorite photo op. And yes, one of the stars of the show did get roped into something they shouldn't. But like I said, it's over. It happened under the bridge. Move on.
She served her time. She's been rehabilitated. We're good.
Yeah, she's just living her life, and I think everybody should just live their life, do what they need to do. And All good things, right, guys? Or something to that effect. But once again, this is and I quote with Jana here on this episode. Don't forget to like and share if you're watching us live or what is known as a replay. Hello there. And if you have any questions about, not questions about my experiences with Smallville, no. But if you have any questions for our guest of honor, Jana here, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. But yeah, good discussions about sitcoms and TV shows. But if you want to do a quick runner-up kind of thing, I would say some of my other favorites are The Wonder Years, Friday Night Lights, because Clear Eyes, Full Hearts can't lose.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
Clear Eyes, Full Hearts can't lose. Can't lose. Come on. And Parenthood. Parenthood was a great show with Lauren Graham from Gilmore Girls. You ever see that?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, you need to see that on Hulu, my friend. Parenthood, 6 seasons based on the movie of the same name from Ron Howard and Brian Grazer. Very, very good stuff. Lauren Graham plays one of the mothers of 2 kids on the show. Peter Krause is in it. Bonnie Padilla from the Die Hard movies plays the grandmother. Craig T. Nelson from Coach plays the granddad. Let's see, who else is in the show? Erica Christensen, who's been in a number of movies over the course of her career. She was in that not very good date movie called Swim Fan, where she was like the obsessed girlfriend.
Oh, I remember that movie.
With Jesse Bradford. Do you see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So she's in it as one of the other mothers on the show who has a kid. Who else? I'm trying to think. Who's the other parent? The guy who's married to Kristen Bell. Dax Shepard. Dax Shepard is on there as one of the uncles. It's a stacked cast, Jana.
Yeah. All right.
May Whitman's in it. May Whitman's a great actress. She's been doing it for a number of years. She played the president's daughter in Independence Day.
Ooh.
So, and she's all grown up on. I mean, obviously she's a teenager in this show because that movie, came out many years ago. But just to say, but yeah, you should visit Parenthood on Hulu. # not sponsor of the show.
Not yet. All right, I'll add it to my list.
There you go. See, we're giving Jana good pieces of or good recommendations for TV shows or movies that you should check out or / binge watch. I would venture to say. With that being said, thanks for turning the interview on me. It's about you, not me. But here's one. What made you decide to become a writer?
I guess I never really decided to become a writer. It's something I've always enjoyed doing. So I've written things mostly for friends and family since I was little. But writing is kind of how I process things. So after a lot of failed dates, I decided I should probably start writing it all down and try to figure out what was going wrong, because it seemed like a lot of things were going wrong. So I just started, I guess, kind of journaling. I hate that word because it wasn't me really like writing down my pure thoughts and intentions. It was more just me categorizing what happened, where did I go wrong, where might I have gone wrong, what questions do I have? And after enough time, you realize, oh crap, I've done a lot of dating. I've failed a lot. Let's go through this and figure out what I did wrong. And there were some themes in there. And that's when I thought, okay, I enjoy writing. I have a lot of content here. Let's see if I could pull this together. So that's when I reached out to a content editor and shared what I had with her. And she helped me tear it all apart and then put it back together in a cohesive story. So it was more of a, oh crap, I have all this stuff. What do I do with it? And that's kind of how I decided to write the book.
Oh, I gotcha. All right. Understandably so. What would you say are some of the biggest rewards about being a writer?
Ooh, are there rewards for being a writer? I guess the biggest thing, because I do all of my own marketing, because I got published through a hybrid publisher. So they've been really great, but they don't really have a marketing team. So I do all of my own marketing. I'm out there, working at markets and book festivals and selling my book to people one-on-one. And I think the most rewarding thing is when I go to a festival and someone comes up to me and they're like, oh, hey, I bought your book, at this other festival or this other market, and I read it and I really enjoyed it. And I'm like, oh, wait, you're not related to me. You don't have to say that. So when someone I don't know tells me they enjoyed what I wrote, that's very cool.
Definitely nothing like getting positive feedback. Flip side of the coin, though, you mentioned something about marketing. Outside of marketing, what are some of the other biggest challenges about being a writer?
Oh, well, I will say online dating prepared me really well for being a writer because it is a ton of rejection. It's, I spent maybe 7 years writing the book because, again, I was writing it as it was all happening. And then in order to get it published, it was a lot of going to conferences, networking, pitching myself to people, writing letters and sending them out to agents and publishers and never hearing back, or hearing back and then getting ghosted by them. So I think it was maybe hundreds of rejections, sometimes overt rejections, and other times just never hearing from people ever again. So you have to have a thick skin because it takes a lot of work to get your book in the hands of someone who's actually going to read it and like it and want to do something with it.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, it's thick skin, definitely, because it happens to everybody, And as we all know, when you're writing stuff, whether it's your first draft, second, or whatever, your first draft's always going to suck, because
Yes.
it's going to have so many errors, so many problems, so many issues, so many mistakes, and that's okay, because that's the beauty of being a writer. You learn from your mistakes, you learn from the drafts, you learn from other writers, which is what I'm gonna once again, I'm not gonna make this episode of Anti Quote about me, but I'm in a writer's Discord and I get advice from my fellow writers all the time, and it's great because it only helps me and it helps them.
Mm-hmm. I highly recommend joining. Like you said, you're in a writer's Discord.
Yes.
I was in a writer's critique group when I lived in Boston. I started a writer's critique group when I moved here to DC. And it's great because people read your stuff and give you very honest feedback. And I mean, you have to be willing to accept their feedback, but it really does make your work better.
That's in the words of Morgan Freeman, she's right, it's very. I'm sure you've seen that meme pop up somewhere in your social media feed. It's Morgan Freeman with the pointing finger that says he or she is right, It's just, I don't know if you're familiar with that at all, but if not, you can just Google it. It's there. Trust me. I've used it in my past on social media. It helps for sure. But so from your experience, what advice would you give to aspiring writers out there?
I would say just be persistent. So I would say make sure that you're writing for the right reasons and trying to get your stuff out there for the right reasons. Because I've had a couple people tell me, oh, I have this great idea for a story. How do you think I can make money with it? And that's absolutely the wrong reason, because I don't personally know any writer who is making money on their book. Like, they have often many other jobs to support them in their writing, because writing is the thing they love to do. So just make sure you're writing because you enjoy what you're writing. Don't write to try to make money.
Yeah, it's not about being the next Stephen King or the next New York Times best-selling author who sells hundreds of thousands of copies a year, right?
Definitely not. If that's why you're trying to write, you really should just go into finance or something. You're really not going to be making money as a writer unless you do. Some people, like the person who wrote 50 Shades of Grey, like, you stumble into something and it takes off, and like, lucky you, but that's not the norm.
Yeah, all right, here's the thing. I never watched the movies, but when the trailers came out, as a movie fan, I went online, I watched the trailers, didn't see the movies because I'm not wasting my money. But watching the trailers, I'm thinking to myself, what the heck are these Hollywood people thinking? Because I respect Dakota Johnson. I mean, she's the freaking daughter of Miami Vice's Sonny Crockett himself, Don Johnson. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She's the daughter of Sonny Crockett. That's a big deal because Miami Vice was hip and cool in the 80s. We all know this. All right. And that theme song, Jana, I mean, it's so cool as ice. All right. It's cool as ice. But when she's in this movie, I'm thinking to myself, Dakota, you're a young actress. Why are you ruining your career before it even starts by starring in 3 of these movies? This is trash. But anyway,
the movies, yeah. I mean, I never saw them. I watched the.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I watched, or I listened to the podcast. There were several podcasts where they watch the movies and talk about them.
Oh, so they did a reaction.
Yeah, kind of reaction.
Review.
So I've listened to those, and that's the only way I could really consume them. But the books made a lot of money, and I hear the movies made a lot of money. So I mean, if someone was willing to give me a lot of money for something that I didn't necessarily love, I'd take a lot of money for that.
Well, that's absolutely fair. I mean, who wouldn't want their book or their piece of work adapted on a Netflix series, Netflix movie, or a studio main movie from Universal, or what is it called? Paramount. Some of the Warner Brothers is another one, right? So there's that. So hey, that never hurt anybody. But good advice on when it comes to being an aspiring writer. I'm writing short stories, and the reason I do it is because short stories don't. I mean, yes, it's work, but it doesn't take as much work to write a 50,000 word novella. So, and plus, starting with short stories is a good way to get your feet wet, jumping into the kiddie side of the pool before you decide to dive into the deepest end of the pool and swim with the sharks. So
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
I've been having fun writing these short stories that take place in different genres. I've written westerns, I've written coming of age / sword and sorcery stories. I'm almost finished writing an 80s set treasure hunter story. I got a bit of an Indiana Jones feel inside of me because I grew up watching the Indiana Jones movies. And I like adventure type stories. That's one of my favorite genres of books, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And then with short stories too, you can pitch those to magazines and places like that. It's a little easier to get a couple credits under your belt before you try to maybe publish an entire series.
That is a fair point. So, and I'm having fun with it. So
that's the most important thing.
It is nothing wrong with that. Life is too short, folks. Try to have fun with your life, whatever it is that whatever it is that you're doing. So speaking of which, let's dive right into this here. So this is a ridiculously good-looking cover if I ever saw one. Secondly, you want to grab someone's attention whenever they're at their booth, at their table, at a festival, at an event, book signing, whatever. And as soon as I saw this, and this is just from my personal experience, when I saw this book and it says ghosted, I'm like, well, what do you mean by ghosted? Is this like a paranormal, horror thing? Or are you talking about being ghosted as in, oh, I'm trying to get a date, but they won't answer my calls? This is ghosted dating, other paramoral experiences. How did this come about? How did you come up with the idea for the title and all that stuff?
Well, I mean, ghosting is a fairly common dating experience these days, unfortunately. So I think that part, I wanted to encapsulate that, this is dating culture, but I also wanted to make it clear that this is not just about dating, because there's a lot of stuff that happens in the book that's like preludes to dating, or even some kind of platonic flirting that may or may not go into dating. So it's not exclusive to dating. And I thought, well, I don't really know how to describe that. So I kind of created the word paramoral to play on the word paramour and paranormal. So it's my way of describing all the unexplained things that happen in the sphere of dating. So that's kind of where it came from. So I wanted to play on that ghosted theme. And then once I came up with the word paramoral, the title kind of wrote itself.
Well, it's a great title. It's a great look too. So my compliments to you for coming up with this and putting this together, and obviously the cover artist too.
Yeah, the cover artist did a great job because I honestly had no idea what I wanted. And this I think was the first thing he showed me. He gave me like 5 other options, but he nailed it.
Yeah, it's very well put together. But yeah, this is how, for a little behind the scenes for those of you watching or listening to this episode of Anti Quo now, Jana and I met each other at a book festival, I believe in Gaithersburg. And first of all, I didn't know Gaithersburg had a festival. I didn't even know there were book festivals. I knew there were book festivals in my neck of the woods, but I just didn't know about this. And this one is like one of the uber big, heavy hitter, type of what do you call it, book festivals. And I've heard from the vendors at the event saying, oh, I applied, for 5 or 6 years and I finally got in, and the process is, a bit, long, exhausting. But once you get in, it's like it's almost like getting into the Gaithersburg Book Festival here in our state of Maryland. For those who wonder where this takes place, it's like going to the Major League Baseball squad, something to that effect. But when I saw Jana there and I saw this book, I'm like, yeah, we could talk about ghosting all day, honey. Because I've had my fair share of experiences with online dating where I get ghosted by potential matches. I've tried to have conversations with texting, conversations with other single females, and all of a sudden they don't return my text, they don't return my email, or they don't reply. Or I say, hey, why don't we get together at this, coffee shop somewhere and, get to know each other. Because as a first, I don't know how you feel about this, but as a first date, I feel like 2 people getting together at a coffee shop or something, not crazy, not wild, not too formal, and just, relaxed to a certain extent, right? I don't see a problem with it. But one time I DM'd this once again, single woman. And this was through a dating service called eharmony.com of all places. I know, I can't believe I'm saying that. Once again, hashtag not a sponsor. And I DM her and I'm like, hey, I feel like we're having a good, we're getting to know each other a little bit here. This has been nice. This has been interesting. How about we get together at this, at some location and have a, lunch outing or a lunch date kind of thing. And she's like, oh, sorry, this is getting a little too much for me. I can't do it. You seem like a nice guy, but I'm not interested. I'm out. And I'm like, what the heck is this? What is going, in the words of, Jerry, what's the deal with this? It's just like, what's going on? It's just like, what's going on here? So that's one of the most bizarre experiences.
It is. And I mean,
it's so strange. And it's such a complicated environment. It's a complicated world. There's that old saying that you and I, and I'm sure many of us single, and those of you who may not be single have heard this before. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and we just don't understand. It's so complicated. It's like, how hard can it be to get together with somebody and just have at a public place? So if you need to leave, you can, nothing's crazy, nothing wild's going on. You're just getting to know each other and break the ice a little bit. But some women just don't even want to do that. Or maybe some guys don't even want to do that. I'm not saying it's just one. By the way, I'm not trying to single out one.
No, your experiences with women, my experiences with men is so
Yeah.
I totally get that, because I sometimes generalize and say men don't X, Y, or Z. And then I'm like, wait, no, that's just been my experience, because those are the ones that I had pursued. I don't necessarily know what women are doing. I will say,
Yeah, go ahead.
There are some like groups on social media where women post about their dating experiences. And I have found that I don't think it's a men are from Mars, women are from Venus thing. I really think it's like everyone has their own idea of what dating should be. Because I read a lot of these things, the expectations that a lot of women have. And it surprises me, because to me, if I'm on a bad date, I don't want to be stuck at dinner. I would much rather do a coffee date or drinks for the first date, see if I, gel with someone, and then commit to something longer. And I'm always surprised when I'll read women saying, oh, this person invited me to coffee. It's so low effort. They're clearly not interested. And so I think it's just different people have different expectations. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a women versus men thing. I think it's really... it's helpful because it self-selects. If you invite someone to a coffee date and they're like, no, that's like really low class, or that's not enough effort for me, then you know that that's not a person you want to date in the first place. It still sucks. It can hurt your feelings for sure. But I've learned over time that if someone doesn't want to do the thing I want to do, then, I'm probably not going to like hanging out with that person any further. So it's better that they just took themselves off the table.
Yeah, it's it's a crazy mixed world we live in. But yeah, no, I've had texting conversations that I never hear back, or I try to we try to set something up and then it falls through the cracks, and I'm just thinking to myself, what the heck is going on? What am I doing wrong? I am being I'm putting my best foot forward as best I can, but sometimes it's either not enough, or like you said, women have different expectations than I do, and then it's complicated.
It is
And
complicated.
I'm really getting, to a certain extent, I'm getting tired of it, because it's like, look, I'll talk to you, I get to know you and everything, but like once I mention coffee shop date, it's like they want to run for the hills and be like, oh, you're not putting in any effort here. What the heck are you doing? I'm like, what do you want me to do? Take you to the cafe on the Ritz? I mean, what do you think this is? You think I'm the richest guy in the world that can just afford, a $500 steak dinner? Not today, honey.
No, and I've been invited to fancy meals, and I've had someone tell me what they expected me to wear, and that was a huge turnoff for me. Like, I'm not going to show up. Someone told me that they wanted me to wear heels on a first date. I was like, well, first of all, like I have an ankle injury, so no, I'm not wearing heels. And also, if that's your expectation, I never wear heels. If that's your expectation, this is not going to work. Like, if you care more about what I'm wearing than if we actually have good conversation,
right
now I'll pass. Thanks.
Man, that's as and I use this catchphrase all the time, but it has to be said. That's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It really is. So yeah, dating has been. I mean, it's been a struggle for a lot of us. It's been a struggle for me at times. It's been a struggle for you, I'm sure. But I'm just curious, where do you see? How do I phrase this? Where do you see online dating going, or do you see online dating going the way of the dinosaur, and now we're just going back to just meeting people in person at public events and other kinds of festivities. Where do you think the whole online dating or just dating realm in general is going the next 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, I think online dating peaked a little while ago. I really think it's on the way out from everyone I speak to. And I speak to a lot of people because I sell my books at a lot of festivals and markets. I hear a lot of people's dating stories. And almost everyone I talk to says they hate online dating. They're sick of all the apps. Every app has the same people. They get the same results. And most of them say they'll go on the apps for like a month. They'll get sick of it and then they'll stop dating for a while. So everyone's kind of doing this back and forth, date for a little bit, off the apps, date for a little bit, off the apps. And I know for a while, that's kind of where I had gotten, because I think personally that dating apps hit their peak probably between like 2014 and 2018. It was more about the profile. I mean, you still had a lot of pictures, but you could write longer profiles in a lot of these apps, and there was more interaction back and forth from people. And then everything got Tinderized. So now everything is just picture, 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 and you're swiping on who you're attracted to, which, I mean, of course you want to be attracted to the person you're talking to, but often the profile space is so limited. You can't write a ton, or you get these prompts and you're only allowed to write like, 1 or 2 sentences in response. And that doesn't tell you anything about someone, especially if they're just giving a generic answer. So I've found that as things became more Tinderized, the quality of the interactions I had declined. So, I'm still finding, or I guess I'm in a relationship now, but I was finding quality people, but it took a lot longer because I had to really pry information out of people. I had to engage in a ton of conversations just to find out if people were interesting. And for the most part, people were fairly generic.
My goodness. Yeah.
How was you said eHarmony, which I know.
Which is what I've used eHarmony in the past. I was on Plenty of Fish, way back, sometime way back when. I know I'm dating myself a little bit here. Don't worry, Jana's quite younger than me, so it's fine. So none of us, we're all young here, folks. We're young at heart. Let's just put it that way.
My book starts before online dating was a thing. I mean, in one of my stories, I was on Craigslist trolling for men. So
wow. And then years later, we got the Lifetime, which by the way, has no correlation between your experiences with dating or not. But then we get the Lifetime movie, the Craigslist Killer.
I know.
There was a Lifetime movie made about that, guys. So feel free to look it up. I believe, and this is something that social media you can find a lot of nowadays. Lifetime posts a lot of their movies for free on their YouTube channel, so you don't have to you don't even need a TV anymore. You can just stream it. And I'm sure someone posted anyway. Yeah, it's on there somewhere. I'm sure you can find it. But as far as my dating experiences go, eHarmony, Plenty of Fish. Okay, I think I tried OkCupid for 2 minutes and got bored. What was another one? There was another one. Was it and by the way, I respect all belief systems out there, folks. Was it Christian Mingle was one of them?
Okay.
And I'm just like, okay, yeah. And I tried a couple of different things here and there, but just nothing really. Excuse me for saying this. Nothing ever really stuck. And when eHarmony started giving me potential matches that just weren't gelling with me because they weren't answering my what do you call it, DMs, as one might say, they were ghost accounts or they were fake accounts. And I'm thinking to myself, eHarmony is pretty good about catching fake accounts and deleting them immediately so that they can protect the safety of their user base. But nowadays it seems like anyone can create a profile and get away with it. And I'm thinking to myself, what is going on here? It's like an episode of The Twilight Zone where the guy wakes up where he's the same and everything around him is different. Well, what episode was that? They were all like that. But still, yeah, those are the dating apps that I've tried. And the one that I wouldn't say I had really any success with, but the one I had close to the most success was eHarmony, at least in the beginning. But then it fizzled, the more I got into it, if that helps.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And I think they've all gone the way of you have to pay for additional services, but I don't think the additional services get you anything more than what you were otherwise getting. Because I tried for OkCupid, that was my favorite because you can write a really lengthy profile. And so you could still tell a lot about someone because the people who put effort into their profiles would really really have some good insight into like what kind of person they were. Would I be a match with this person? So you didn't have to waste as much time texting back and forth with someone because you got a good sense of who they were from their profile. But then they monetized, and so you could only see like one match at a time if someone liked you. And I paid for that for a little bit, and I was like, I don't understand what I'm getting for this. But they've all, I think, is it Hinge or Bumble? One of them charges if you want to send roses to someone to let them know you like that. Like, it's just so ridiculous. And I think the apps have kind of shot themselves in the foot. And I think people are sick of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, eHarmony, I signed up for a year. You paid an X amount of money for a year subscription because that way you can see the photos, you can see the profiles, you can look at the details of that person, like what they like to do, some of the things that they enjoy, to see if you mesh with them. And that's fine. But, after a year, I'm thinking to myself, well, I haven't really gotten any success. I'm not renewing my subscription. So you can, take this and, take my money for the 1 year, and I signed a deal and I'm done. Because after that, you can stick it where the sun don't shine, pal. The dating app, not the not the potential matches that I got. But yeah, no, it's hard. It's hard.
It is, but I think there are more in-person opportunities that are springing up out of this void. Because I know there's like speed dating has always been a thing, but I think they found a way to make speed dating more natural. Because at least in the DC area, I forget what it's called, but there is a speed dating site where it's all app based. So everyone signs up and you pay and you show up, you go to a bar and you'll just be mingling at a bar, and then it'll show you a picture of your next match. And you guys don't have to sit across a table from each other. You just go somewhere in the bar and hang out and chat and drink. And then it'll tell you when your time is up. Mm-hmm. So it feels a little more natural, I think. So there's that. And then I think there's some lunch date type things where you get together and it's a group of people and you're all doing lunch together, and it's in a group setting. So it's, I think, less formal. And that takes some of the pressure off. So I know I have some friends who they're off the apps. They're not dating that way anymore, but they said they're curious about these in-person opportunities.
Wow, that's fair. That's fair. Maybe I should pay a visit to these areas more often. Haven't been to DC. I mean, I was in DC earlier this year for Awesome Con, because that's a Comic-Con that's held every year. Mm-hmm. And it's at the Walter Reed Convention Center, right there in the center of town. Mm-hmm. What we do is we drive up to, for those of you in Maryland, we drive up to a place called Greenbelt, drop the car off, hop on the metro, take the metro into DC, because there's the Green Line, take the Green Line straight, because there's a stop right underneath the convention center. Mm-hmm. We just get off there. We go up the escalators. You walk down the street, right? And then the convention center is right there.
Yeah. No, that feels like a great way to meet people.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you mean what do you mean? Like going to the comic
like for dating? Have you met anybody that way? Because that's all a bunch of people with similar interests.
Well, that's true. Well, it's funny because there was a gentleman who also happened to share the same name that I do, Ryan. Another Ryan, not me, but another Ryan ran a service called Sci-Fi Speed Dating, where he would have that at conventions, and he had it at Awesome Con. This was years ago. This is long before COVID, hit the environment, and that really took a lot of the unfortunate, that hit us. It hit everybody hard. Let's be honest. But before COVID, he was doing Sci-Fi Speed Dating, and he would round up, groups during the weekend, be like, okay, we're going to do guys and girls on this day, and people were interested in, these types of people on this day, and blah, 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 blah. And when I did that, what you did is you go around the room. What was it? I think guys would go from one seat to the other, but the women would stay at their station where they were seated at, respectively. And then we would write down, their badge number. And then we put all the papers out on the table. And then at the end, we grab our paper to see if we matched up with anybody.
Yeah. And did you ever match with anybody?
One time I did. The other 1 or 2 times that I did it, unfortunately, no. But the one time that I did, it's funny though, because the one time that I did, there were 2 women I matched with. I emailed one of them, never heard back. So another ghosted experience for your book, Jana. Maybe you could put this in the sequel. I don't know. From a guy's perspective, this is what happened to him in chapter 3. No, I'm just joshing. It's your choice. But the other one that I matched with was a cosplayer, and she was dressed up as Mario. of all things, she was just as smart. But here's the thing. I think she had my email, I had hers, and I think she emailed me once, but it was long after the convention. I just kind of like, like, hey, I didn't gel with the first one. I don't really care, about whoever this person is. Like, they described who they were, and I'm just like, I kind of remember you, but I don't know if I was interested. So I don't know. It just didn't work out.
Did you ghost her?
I mean, the pot calling the kettle black. Maybe I did. I don't know, but it just didn't. I don't know. I just didn't. I didn't. We both matched with each other for some reason, but I just didn't feel like I would match with her. I don't know. I just didn't feel like I was interested in her really and it had nothing to do with her cosplay. It had nothing to do with that because I didn't start cosplaying until years later after I met this woman. But still, I'm just like, something about you just didn't, ring a bell or didn't work for me. I don't know. I'm sorry to say this. Maybe I just had to pull a Rainy Jack and say it's a no for me, dog. I don't know. But it
That's
didn't work.
fair, but you ghosted. Oh, that's your karma right there.
that went to the wayside, unfortunately. So it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. But if sci-fi speed dating ever comes around again at conventions that I'm at as an attendee, I'm happy to participate because it was fun. And meeting somebody at a Comic-Con is a great way to, to break the ice, meet somebody you're interested in. Because quite frankly, if I meet somebody who's cosplaying, a character in the same universe as I am or whatever, or if they're not, but they're enjoying themselves and we have a conversation, the conversation's flowing and we enjoy that and we want to continue that, then I would say, can I get your digits? And then, no, I'm just kidding. Not pulling a 1995 reference on you, but still, who knows? Maybe they'll bring sci-fi speed dating back or just bring an element of speed dating to Comic-Cons again. Folks, if you're out there and you're going to Comic-Cons and you have a business and you want to do speed dating at conventions, please start doing it again because I wouldn't mind participating. I'm just saying. I mean, single and ready to mingle, folks. That's me you're talking to.
And I'm happy to help out and then sell my book after.
See, it's a win-win for everybody. For everybody, Jana, everybody. So there you go. But yeah, my dating experiences have not been very pleasant. Trying to think the last time I went on a date, like actual date. I'm not talking because the online stuff that quickly fizzled. That doesn't really count. I mean, it happened, but it never really happened. So I'm trying to make it happen, Gretchen. It's never going to happen. So the last date I went on was, I think it was like a year or two ago, and they wanted to rush into it way too quickly. Like they asked me, "Hey, can I post on my Facebook that we're dating?" I'm like, we just like we're just hanging out for the first time. What? I mean, I was like shocked by that. I was kind of flabbergasted, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then she goes on social media, and she, by the way, I don't want to name names because I want to respect this person's privacy, but still, she went on social media, told everybody that we were dating, and we only known each other for like 3 hours. And I'm like,
yeah, that's a red flag right there.
I'm like, what is happening here? And then a week or two later, we went out again, and she visited me because she lived in a faraway area, so I had to travel somewhat far to see her. She was in Virginia. And then she traveled to Maryland through the metro because there was a metro in Virginia. Because DC, Virginia, there's certain lines of the metro that cross over together. I think it was the red line or something. You know what I mean? So you probably know more about this than I do. But
yes,
she came over. We hung out. I told her, hey, I got to go to work tonight. If you want to ride back to the station, we've got to do it now. Like, nah, I want to keep hanging out. I'm like, all right. But it just miscommunication. And then, we got into an argument. And then I was just kind of like, you know what? This isn't working. Better to stop the train now before it goes completely off the rails. And that was it. So I think it's been a year, if not two, since I've been on, I guess, I don't even know if you call that a date really, because she was going 200 miles an hour with the relationship and I was trying to go an easygoing 20.
Well, she would definitely call it a date. You were essentially her boyfriend.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It was about a year or two ago, but I don't know. It just didn't work. But to me, it feels like forever, honestly.
Yeah.
A year can feel like 10 years, For me, honestly, I feel like I haven't been in an honestly decent, respectable, good to go date since, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago. It's been forever. So, but it doesn't mean I don't know how to do it. It's just that it's been a minute, folks. It's been a minute. See, this is me, Ryan, being candid and honest on a show about online dating. I never thought I would say this, but we're talking about online dating on this episode of And I Quote with the guest of honor, Jana, who wrote the great book Ghosted, Dating Other Paramaural Experiences. Don't forget to like and share this with your closest friends. If you have any questions for Jana, not me, please let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. If you're watching this live or on a replay /Memorex, hello there. Oh, good Lord. But yeah, dude, it's just, I don't know. Dating is so complicated. So this, when it comes to this book, what has been your experience like going to book signings, book festivals? What has been the response to this book overall?
Um, I get usually it's one of two responses. Usually people come up and they'll see my book and they are immediately like, "Oh, I have stories," and they want to talk to me about their stories, which I love. I like hearing people's dating stories. Um, then there's the, "Oh, I don't really want to read a book about this right now. That's way too triggering." So everyone has the experience. Some people enjoy talking about it and, leaning into it, and other people it's too real for them and they just can't deal with it. And those are the main experiences. I have a lot of people who will walk up and say like, "Oh, you wrote ghost stories?" So then I have to let people know that no, it's not actually a ghost story. And those people usually find a polite way to walk away. And every now and then I'll just get random people who thumb through my book and then just tell me random personal things about them that have nothing to do with dating and really are none of my business. But then I just have to kind of stand there and think, okay, is there a way I can get them to buy my book while they're telling me about this? Usually they do. And once they've shared something fairly intimate with me, then they'll look at me and be like, "Well, I guess I should buy your book now." So, all right. Yeah, buy my book. Give it to someone who you think will like it.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Good stuff. So if someone, and I'm sure you've heard these expressions before, but if you're in an elevator with somebody, you gotta give what is known as the elevator pitch. What would you say is the elevator pitch for Ghosted?
Oh gosh, anyone who has stood near me while I'm pitching my book knows I have one phrase that I say over and over again. It's a humorous memoir about my early dating mistakes here in DC.
There you go.
So
Sums it up
it's
beautifully, I might add.
it's on a loop. Yeah, I will say if you're in the DC area, the DMV in general, there's a lot of local references. So
Mm-hmm.
I've made a lot of mistakes in a lot of places around DC.
Yeah, granted, not all of them, but a few locations that you mentioned in your book. As and forget to give everyone some. This is why we have it here in the background of our studio. We're celebrating this book today because you're the guest of honor. I read the book. I recognize a few of not a lot of them, but a few of the locations. And then you mentioned Reston, Virginia. You mentioned pieces in Virginia, and I've been down there. I've been to that area of Reston. There's a lot of history there, a lot of festivals, a lot of flowers are blooming and things of that nature. Of course. Goodness gracious. So it's nice to hear some of that stuff. And then when you mentioned like, "Oh, I went to this place near Union Station," or some of these other stops on the Green Line, the Red Line, the Orange Line. How many lines are there? It's probably 10 lines in the metro rail of DC. Is that true? Or how many are there now? It's probably 5 or 6.
Well, the purple line's not in service now. So I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There might be 6 plus the purple line coming soon. But I've had several people who have read my book say my book is very much like Sex in the City, where the city is the 5th character. The metro seems to be another character in my book because I get stranded on the metro a lot. It seems to happen. I didn't realize it when I was writing it, but a lot of my stories have me pondering life on the metro while I'm stuck or having to find my way home because the metro stopped working.
Oh man, I hate it
But
when
yay,
that
public
happens.
transportation.
Yep. The struggle is real when you don't have a car, right?
Hmm?
Because a car, when you're going out on all these dates, could have come in handy back then at some points, I'm sure.
Oh my God,
Uh,
seriously. Geographical convenience is a real thing.
And one thing that I did, I like the entirety of the book, but one thing that stood out to me was when you had to live with a roommate that you didn't really like all that much because they would be booming the TV, wearing the same clothes every time a certain sporting event took place. I'm thinking to myself, man, that's something out of a sitcom waiting to happen. We all have that annoying neighbor or annoying roommate, or basically, is it fair to say? I don't know if this is right or not, but is it fair to say that the person you mentioned in your book is kind of like the Newman to your Jerry, or the Kramer to your Jerry, where it's just annoying and the person didn't make a whole lot of sense when they were telling you stuff?
I'd say probably more Newman than Kramer. At least Kramer was like interesting.
Yeah.
Newman was just kind of like a downer.
Yeah.
Maybe he was more like a George, actually.
Oh, Costanza, really?
He was just kind of like a sad sack. But he was just always there. He never left, and he was so condescending. And he was not supposed to be my roommate. He was supposed to be living abroad for the whole year,
right.
and he just like
Right.
came home one day and was like, I didn't like Geneva. I'm living here now. It's like, oh, okay, this really changes my plans for the year.
That year was a long one, wasn't it?
It was, and I say this in the book. I really don't know if he thought I was an idiot or if he just didn't think highly of anyone. Because, I mean, he explained to me how to lock the door. He explained to me how to vacuum. Like, he demoed how to vacuum. He made me come out of my room so he could show me how to vacuum, which I don't think I put this in my book. But after he moved to Geneva, I tried to vacuum and it wasn't working. And I took the vacuum apart and there was a huge clog in it. So I disassembled the vacuum, removed the clog, put it back together. That clog had been there for a while. So that dude did not know how to vacuum. But I did the polite thing and did not force him to watch me when he came back, to show him how I took his vacuum apart, cleaned it out, and put it back together.
Gee willikers. Man, that's insane. But yeah, no, you kind of you're making a lot of sense here. You're a mixture of Costanza meets Newman. I get it. Yeah, hello Jerry, hello Newman. You know, it's just and then Newman would thrive when Jerry would suffer and just kind of like eat it up a little bit. I feel like your roommate was kind of the same way. It's like, you know what, I'm just gonna torture this nice young woman as much as I can, and oh yes, mark my words, Seinfeld, the day of reckoning is coming when an evil wind will blow through your little play world and rub that smug smile off your face. It's just I grew up watching. My brother introduced me to Seinfeld, so if it weren't for my middle brother, I would not know what the heck a Seinfeld sitcom is. And it's by far and away, it's hilarious. It's my favorite one of all. I mean, granted, The Wonder Years technically counts as a sitcom, even though it's a family kind of thing, because the episodes are 22 minutes long. So The Wonder Years is, on a technical level, Jana, it's a sitcom, and it is, to me, it's the greatest of all time. The Wonder Years, I mean, are you kidding me? That show was pure gold. But when it comes to outside of that, Seinfeld's the greatest of all time.
Interesting. So it was only because of your brother that you started watching that?
Well, it's because of my brother. I watched a lot. Well, I have two older brothers, so they introduced me to a lot of different IPs growing up. So if it weren't for them, I wouldn't know who Indiana Jones is. I wouldn't know what Star Wars is. I wouldn't know what Seinfeld is. Like I said, with my middle brother, he introduced me to Seinfeld, the sitcom. And then he took me to a couple of comedy shows where Jerry was the headliner.
That's
cool. So I saw his stand-up. I saw his stand-up comedy at the Meyerhoff, I think it was, like in Baltimore, which, because like I said, we're in Maryland. So I've seen Jerry Seinfeld stand-up. I've seen some, like, when I was in high school theater. So we would take these field trips up to New York and we would see Broadway shows. So that was the first time I saw Hairspray. That was the first time I saw Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that one. It's a pretty good one too. So yeah, I was introduced to different things because of my brothers, but other stuff I did discover on my own. Like I discovered Fox Kids on my own. Because Fox Kids was the jam for us 90s kids, right? Nickelodeon was the thing when we were kids, right? So I discovered a lot of things on my own, but I do have to thank my brothers for getting me into Seinfeld. They got me into, certain elements of comedy and comedic films. Like, a brother told me about this movie called Captain Ron with Kurt Russell and Martin Short from the 90s, and it's absolutely hilarious and an underrated gem. Kurt Russell's got the eye patch, and he's, just kind of like a cool, laid-back dude wearing Hawaiian shirts. And I'm like, dude, this movie's hilarious. I freaking love this. He introduced me to Nintendo, the SNES. He introduced me to video games. My brothers did to a certain extent. I mean, I got into games eventually myself, but they introduced me to NES and SNES because, I have older brothers. It was around for them before I was born, so that it's just natural, right? What else? I'm trying to think of what else. They got me into the stuff you and I talked about backstage, which is we're not gonna say what that was on this show. But that was, hey man, you did.
They've formed a lot of who you are.
Things happen. Anyway, mistakes happen. Let's just leave it at that. Family show, guys. Family show. Let's see. They got me into just different things. Here's a movie for you. They introduced me to a movie called The Wizard with Fred Savage, about him taking his little brother to California to play the video game championships of Los Angeles And that was like a giant Nintendo commercial when the movie came out because they were advertising Super Mario Brothers 3 because it was never released in the US until after that movie had come out. So when we were going down to the beach in the summertime with my family and I, they would always take me to the video store, which in our case was called West Coast Video in Ocean City, Maryland. What's up, OCMDers? We would go there, and he would be like, Ryan, you guys see this movie? It's called The Wizard. I'm like, what is it? Well, it's about a kid who plays video games. You love it. And I watched it. And I was like, dude, this movie's awesome.
Of course.
It was fun. It was fun. Are you familiar with any of those? Do any of those names ring any bells for you?
Oh yeah, all of those. I remember. Yes, I definitely watched The Wizard. I don't have the same sort of memories you do from it, but Captain Ron, I remember really enjoying.
Yeah, such a fun movie, man. I mean, gosh, it's so good. If you've never heard of this movie, go to a streaming service. It's actually streaming on YouTube right now, free with ads. So watch Captain Ron. It's there. It's not cut either. It's not like a censored version. It's the actual PG-13 version. So go on there, watch it. Jana, watch this tonight.
You'll thank me later. I'm seeing my nephews next week. That might be a good one for the nephews.
Booyah. It's rated PG-13 for a reason, so keep that in mind. But it's fun. It's hilarious. It's underrated. Not a lot of people know about it. We did a anniversary watch along for the movie on this very YouTube channel that you are watching or listening to right now. And it's our highest rated, most viewed video in the history of our channel.
Oh.
The Captain Ron watch along has like 30, 40, some odd, like tens of thousands of views.
That's good to know. Maybe I'll watch it that way then.
You can do it that way if you want, but the other thing is the reason I think it got so many views is because people actually thought we were going to be streaming the movie on our actual screen. I'm like, guys, there's a little thing called copyright law. You ever hear of that? We can't put something on our screen. I mean, I can share my screen with you right now because I'm using a PC, but still, I'm not going to do that because we want to respect the studios, the filmmakers, and we do not want to get copyrighted. So if you love the movies, watch the movie with us, but you can do it with physical media or streaming service at your convenience. And I give timestamps every 10 minutes when we're doing the watch alongs, Jana. So if you go back and watch some of our tapes or footage, you'll hear me saying, okay, guys, we're 36 minutes and 18 seconds into the movie. So if you want to keep your copy right now, do so. Watch along with us. Comment below in the chat. And I always do the timestamps to catch people up.
All right. Good to know.
And you'll hear me say that when you go back and watch the Captain Ron footage if you want to watch the footage of that. But it was fun nonetheless. I will be honest with you. It was fun. But yeah, no, my brothers got me into tons of stuff. So thank you to my two brothers. But then again, I discovered a lot of the greatness of the 90s on my own, Jana.
I mean, that's a brag right there.
I mean, Fox Kids, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Kids WB, Salute Your Shorts, Legends of the Hidden Temple, Hey Dude, Goosebumps, Batman animated series, X-Men, Spider-Man, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the toys, the Pogs, the tech decks. I mean, the shoes that light up when you walk down the street called LA Rocks or LA Nights, whatever they were called, shoes or sneakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Before the wheelie ones now.
Yeah, the wheelie ones are that's just strange. But we had Razor, scooters, we had rollerblades, we had it all in the 90s, Jana. We had it in spades.
Oh, I'm aware. Although I guess my brother formed some. I have an older brother and a younger sister.
You have an older brother? Okay, all right. Like I said, I got two older brothers, so that's an interesting thing. That's somewhat of a thing we have in common there. There you go.
Yeah, but I guess I pretty much was at the mercy of my brother. So I guess whatever he did, I was kind of just along for the ride. He was a lot bigger than me. So I couldn't really resist. If he wants to, we had one TV. It was a one TV household. So if we were watching something on TV, my brother dictated what we watched. And that's just what we did. Like my poor younger sister, I don't think she ever saw Sesame Street because by the time she came along, my brother had aged out of that. So I don't think she ever really even got to see that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, the good news is if your sister's still interested, you can always go back on the Sesame Street official YouTube channel and watch classic clips and sketches that feature Sesame Street characters. I mean, my favorites. Well, let me ask you this: who's your favorite Sesame Street character?
Oh, I think I was a traditionalist. I liked Big Bird.
Big Bird.
Yeah, I was kind of. I have to say I didn't love Sesame Street.
Okay.
So,
we're still friends, but let me ask you this. Did you like Muppet movies? Did you like the Muppets like Kermit?
Oh, I love the Muppets, Muppet Babies, Muppet movies.
Muppet Babies. Do you remember the theme song? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I was definitely more of a Muppets girl than a Sesame Street girl.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, here's a $2 million question. Favorite Muppet movie?
Oh,
There's a lot of them.
there are.
So many.
I like the Muppets Take Manhattan, but I also like their Dickens one, their Christmas.
The Muppet Christmas Carol
Yeah. Yeah. It's just weird.
with Michael Caine
Yes.
as
Yes.
Scrooge.
What's yours?
Well, I mean, first of all, the Muppet Christmas Carol is a tradition in my family, so I watch that every flipping year because you have to. You have to.
Mhm.
When it comes to holiday movie marathons, don't switch on the 24/7 of Hallmark, okay? Don't switch on the 24/7 of Lifetime. Don't do that. Don't do it. No, because every Lifetime and Hallmark movie, hashtag these are the facts, they're all the same movie.
Mhm. They
They're
are.
the same plot with the same storyline, with the same setting, just different actors. Okay, that's the only thing that's different. Period. End of
People find
story.
comfort in that.
Yeah, but still, there's better stuff you could be watching. People, please.
Like the Muppets.
Yes, watch Muppet Christmas Carol. Watch Muppet Treasure Island. Watch Muppet Take Manhattan. Watch the Great Muppet Caper with Diana Rigg and Charles freaking Grodin. All right. Honestly, I hear they're planning to steal the baseball diamond. What? So we just got to catch those thieves red-handed. What color are their hands now?
Wow, that one's still fresh in your mind.
Well, here's the fun fact about myself. So for those of you wondering, why is Ryan quoting all these movies so well? Well, the fun thing is, if I watch something once or twice, Jana, the whole script gets tattooed in my brain, and I can recite it back to you verbatim.
Is that a helpful skill?
I mean, I don't know if it helps me in the dating pool that you and I were talking about earlier in this broadcast, but hey, if a woman likes a guy who can quote movies or TV shows pretty well, sign me up, because that's one of the qualities I can offer a potential match. So
I think that helps. I used to be able to quote The Simpsons, like anything that happened in life. There was a Simpsons quote, and I could pull it off the top of my head. And I would date guys, and we would if they could quote The Simpsons, I was like, all right, I'm going to give this a chance. Like, we have some good banter. We have the same frame of reference. We like the same things, same sense of humor. So it's a good starting point for sure.
All right. Well, if there's any interested, single ladies out there that respect that quality in a man such as myself, please let me know. Just throwing that out there. Hashtag single and ready to mingle. That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the secondary point of today, is to get Ryan a date.
If you want, hey, listen, the crazier things have happened in this lifetime, folks. Possibilities are endless, and life's too short. Just have fun with it. But yeah, no, those are some of the things I grew up, watching, getting into, respecting. And as far as Muppet go, my favorite one is probably Muppet Christmas Carol, because I watch it every year. But the follow-up to that is either Muppet Treasure Island or The Great Muppet Caper. Are you familiar with The Great Muppet Caper?
Yeah, I think I've only seen that one once. Definitely can't quote it. You can.
Oh, you need to go back and revisit that, because Diana Rigg, Charles Grodin, unfortunately, both actors are no longer with us. They're legendary Hollywood actresses and actors. But Diana Rigg was a wonderful actress, wonderful woman. Charles Grodin was in the movie Clifford with Martin Short from the 90s. He was in the Beethoven movie with the dog, the Saint Bernard. He was in that. Charles Grodin's done a lot of performance, and he was in an episode of Law & Order SVU.
Ooh, yeah.
Towards the end of his career. This is where he had white hair and he had like a pair of glasses on. I hardly recognized him. I'm like, oh my gosh, Charles Grodin is still acting? Because I haven't seen you since the 90s, son. Where have you been? And then he shows up like 15, 20 years later on an episode of Law & Order SVU, which is another show I'm a fan of.
That's a good one. Yes.
I mean, it's been around. Do you know SVU is the longest running television series in the history of television?
More than
the original,
Dr. Who?
yeah. Well, Doctor Who, not counting, sci-fi extended franchises and all that, as far as just the longest running show in the history of American television anyway, SVU is the longest running one. I think overall Doctor Who, what do you call it, transcends that, because it's been going on for 50 years, if not 60.
Yeah.
So, but SVU has been going on for nearly 30 years.
That's pretty great. I mean, it's a fantastic show.
It started in 1999.
Yeah.
And now, by the way, I look forward to seeing this. I don't know if you heard the news or not, but Mariska Hargitay, the lead actress on Law & Order SVU, and the longest-running fictional character in the history of American television, for that matter, she has a new documentary coming out about her mother, Jane Mansfield. It's called My Mom, Jane.
I didn't know that.
It's going to debut on. It's going to debut on HBO, or not HBO. Well, HBO Max, whatever you want to call it. It's going to debut on Max, and it looks really good. And Jane Mansfield, I've heard her name. And I know that she's Mariska's mother, but I don't really know much about her. I don't really know much about Jane Mansfield. I really don't. So other than she was a Hollywood, starlet for her time. She was blonde. She kind of reminded you of Marilyn Monroe type thing. I'm sure she had her flings with, men, I'm sure, or something, or I don't know. But Mariska says, you know what? It's time that I got to know my mother. And she made a documentary about her mother. So now it's about to come out, be released to the public. People are going to be able to see it. I want to see it because, I've been a fan of Mariska since, SVU season 5 is when I started tuning in, Jana. So and by the way, Mariska Hargitay, even at, her approaching, what is it, 60 now or somewhere she may be in her 60s by now. I'm not sure. She looks incredible for her age.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also when you're that famous, you've got a whole team of people making sure you look that
there
good.
could be there may or may not be some surgery or Botox injections there, Jana. I don't want to speak for her, but maybe not. I don't know. But she looks pretty,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, she looks great. Stabler still looks great.
Oh, you mean Chris? Yeah. Speaking of which, this is another fascinating thing you wrote about in your book. When you wrote Chris Maloney, I'm thinking to myself, hey, I know this guy. I watched SVU for years.
Yeah. I had a good first date talking about Chris Maloney. Someone.
Is he
See,
still
these
your
are things.
Is he still your Hollywood crush, or do you have other Hollywood crushes out there besides Chris Maloney?
I have to say I'm not super fascinated by celebrity. I don't pay that much attention to celebrities, but I would say like physically, yeah, he's probably up there, maybe Ryan Reynolds, but I don't have a ton of curiosity about like celebrities and their lives.
Yeah. Well, with all due respect, Ryan Reynolds is kind of in a bit of a legal dispute with his wife, Blake Lively, and certain situations that came up on her movie, and now Ryan's involved in it. I hear that Taylor Swift may be involved with it because of her text messages she sent to Blake Lively regarding the situation that was happening on set when they were making that movie. So those people,
if he's looking for an out, I mean, I did say I'm in a relationship, but if he's looking for an out, I could help him out.
Oh my goodness. You know what? I mean, for you to say that, admit that on national television such as this show, I mean,
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
God, we're gonna need a bigger boat for this date, fans. Nicest way possible. I'm just having fun here on set. And I'm sure you've seen Jaws at least once in your life, right?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've read the books.
Oh, you read the book?
Yeah.
What did you think? What did you think of the book? What did you think of the book?
It was sexier than I thought it was going to be.
Really?
Yeah, because I think I read it when I was.
When was this?
Like early high school.
Okay.
There was definitely some sex scenes, and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting," because I had never read like romance novels before. I didn't know that was a genre. So I'm reading the book, and I'm like, "This is about sharks. Why are they like all getting off here?"
Not really sure. Apparently, Peter Benchley knew what he was doing when he wrote the book, right? Because I believe he's the original author of the book. Isn't he, Peter Benchley?
I think so. And I mean, obviously, the book did well, so that's why they wanted to make that movie. So
yeah, fair enough. And not only that, it turns 50 this year. Fun fact.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we're going to be doing a 50th anniversary watch along of Jaws next week on Friday, June the 20. I want to say it's the 20. Was it 27th, I believe. Is it 27th? Yeah. 27th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So it'll be a lot of fun. If you're interested, you can chime in with us in the live chat during the show, Jana. You can watch the movie along with us from the comfort of your own home or your office. See, there you go. Free plugs for everybody. Now, there you go. See, everybody wins. So now that this book is out, what is the plan for you moving forward? Is there a sequel is there going to be a Ghosted Part 2? Do you have other ideas brewing in the mind of yours? What is next for you as a writer? What do you have planned for us next?
I do have another idea. I guess I will say that I've been fortunate that once I put all of my dating misadventures back to back into a book, it helped me clarify what I was not looking for. So my dating life actually got pretty good after that. Like I started making much healthier decisions. So while I was still single for a very long time after the book came out, my dating life got less funny. So I don't think there's a lot in there for another book. But something I mention in the book is that I it's only in one chapter, but I struggled with an eating disorder in my early 20s. And so I have an idea. I'd like to write kind of like a dark comedy about what it's like to live with an eating disorder, because most of the books about people with eating disorders tend to be like self-help books or like self-actualization books. And there's not a lot out there for just like, this is actually what day to day is for someone who's either really in the thick of it or who's already gone through recovery but still struggles with it. So I'd like to write something like that, but also with like a dark humor skew to it. But right now I'm struggling with how to make that happen. But stay tuned. Maybe in 10 years I'll figure it out.
10 years. We got to wait 10 years for a sequel? What are you doing? We're not a sequel,
Great question. What am I doing?
but another book is the more appropriate words. But man, 10 years, that's a long time. I'm not gonna be 38 anymore.
No.
You do realize in 10 years I won't be 38. I'm gonna be, you add a 1 and a 0 to that, it's gonna be 48. That's scary.
That is scary. But you and your partner can read it together. And you can bring me on the show.
Well, I appreciate your optimism. I mean, look, being a Superman fan, I don't know if there's a Lois Lane out there for me. I really don't, because I've been on so many dating platforms that haven't worked out. Things have fizzled. Things have gone the way of the dodo, as one might say. So I don't really think there's a Lois Lane out there for me at this point. But then again, 38 isn't that big of a number. It's not too bad. It's not too old. It's not too young. It's not old, but it's not young. It's just somewhere in the middle of the trenches. I don't know how you want to phrase it, but who knows? I mean, listen, if someone is into, the geeky stuff that I like, they can quote right along with me. Maybe not all of it, but if they can keep up with some of the references that I throw at them, or at least most of it, that's like 10 points to Gryffindor. Like that's like an extra 10 points in your favor. Not to say that this is a scoring contest. This isn't a competition by any stretch. But if they can keep up with some of that stuff, Jana, then I'm like, okay, now we're on the right track to something here. Do you see what I'm saying? This is something we can build on, folks.
And I have to say, as I got older, I guess I kind of gave up on the idea of finding like a single partner for the rest of my life. So you said you're not going to find your Lois Lane. I still don't know that I believe in that. I have one person for the rest of my life, but I'm throwing myself into enjoying the dating experiences as they come. So, date someone and enjoy them. And if it doesn't last forever, don't put all your eggs in that basket. Cause I think we set ourselves up for failure if we think like, is this person going to be my forever partner? And if you don't look at it that way, then you can just enjoy them for what they are. And that could be your partner for right now. So maybe just think, can I find someone cool to hang out with for a little while? Maybe enjoy the summer with.
Well, we are right now, summer's officially started with the summer solstice occurring a day or two ago. So, although let's just not turn into the situation where the mayor goes on national television and say, it's a beautiful day. Everyone's having a good time. The beaches are open. And then all of a sudden, 2 minutes later, Alex Kidner gets eaten by Bruce the Shark. No, we don't want that.
Definitely not.
Heavens no. And then you got the chief looking at us saying, get out of the water. Everybody out of the water. Sorry. I got the movies on the brain because we're celebrating it next week. So I kind of, the whole like the whole thing is just on my brain right now. I don't know why. Plus I by the way, this is gonna sound silly, but fun fact, bought myself a Jaws t-shirt for next week's festivities so I can look the part. I do like the movie. I didn't love it a while back, but now that I've had a chance to like go back and rewatch it and experience it a little bit differently, now that I'm a bit older, I'm a little wiser. I got gray hairs in the back of my hair to prove it. Hashtag that's not real. I really like Jaws now. I think it's a great movie. I didn't love it, but now I'm like really starting to like enjoy it more and more that I see it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like something that grows on you over time.
Yeah, I could see that. And I think like what you said, it was the first summer blockbuster. So seeing it through that lens, seeing it as like, wow, this is the movie that kind of kicked it all off. That's pretty cool. You got to respect that. Once again, she's right, it's very true. So I got myself a Jaws t-shirt, and then the other shirt that I got, once again, hashtag not a sponsor, but are you familiar with tpublic.com by any chance? Yep.
All right. Well, TeePublic's got a lot of pop culture shirts for, the inner fan in all of us. Another one I got was from a character called Solomon Kane. Solomon Kane is a character that was written by Robert E. Howard, the original creator of Conan the Barbarian. So So basically, he's a Puritan warrior who fights, demons and, evil kinds of creatures and monsters and sends them back to, excuse me for saying this, sends them back to hell. So in a way, he's kind of serving God by sending these people back to hell, or these creatures.
That's Solomon Kane?
Solomon Kane is the name of the character / property. And it's really cool. And by the way, there is a movie that was based on the character. It came out in 2009. It's called Solomon Kane. You can find it for free on Roku. It's free on YouTube with ads. It stars James Purefoy from the hit TV series The Following with 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. James Purefoy is a great character actor, and I think he's underutilized, and I think he's underrated. So if you want to know more about the character of Solomon Kane that came from the same mind as, who created Conan the Barbarian, Robert E. Howard, go and check out the movie Solomon Kane. I mean, if you're willing to watch a movie that's a bit scary and things that go bump in the night, it's cool stuff. I don't know if that interests you or not, Jana, but who knows? Maybe you can use it as a date night. I don't know.
Maybe, although I'm notoriously baby when it comes to scary things. I like when people watch scary movies and then tell me about them.
Oh, well, all right. Well, I mean, if this isn't really your cup of tea, you can, it's okay. You can just watch the trailer on YouTube just to get an idea.
Yeah, I'll watch the trailer and I'll wait till someone does a watch along, and then I don't have to watch the movie. I can just listen to the commentary.
All right. Well, one of these days, I don't know if we're gonna do it this year or maybe in a couple of years from now, but we'll do a Solomon Kane watch along, and then we'll have you, sitting in the. You could be in the chat room, commenting along as we watch it, so you won't have to, see it necessarily on the big screen. So we'll save you the panic attack.
Thank you.
In case you're wondering, Jana, we aim, in the words of Bond, James Bond, we aim to please. Speaking of which, you a Bond fan or no? That doesn't really do it for you?
I mean, I've watched a lot of them. I can't say I ever got that into any of them.
Who was your favorite Bond actor? Was it Roger Moore or was it Sean Connery?
I liked Sean Connery. I guess. Yeah, I mean, I liked him better than Pierce Brosnan. I would like to see Idris Elba, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Probably not. He's getting a little too old, and they want to focus on it because if you're going to have somebody play the new James Bond, you want them to play it for the next 10 or 15 years. So
yeah, fair.
They're going to find a young, up-and-coming actor, I think, to be the new James Bond, which I think they should do. Don't get a well-known person. Just get an unknown actor. Give them a shot. Let them, feel the vibe, feel the character, and become that character. In my opinion, I feel like Hollywood relies too much on the same 10 actors nowadays. You really need to focus on unknown talents.
Yeah, I agree. I would not want to see like a Timothée Chalamet or something in that role. Like, he's great, but I've seen enough of him for a while.
I've seen it. Yeah. And listen, all due respect, I am an Idris Elba fan. I do like Idris Elba a lot, but he's a bit too old to be playing Bond, Jana. I'm sorry to disappoint.
That's okay. I'm in that demographic now. I'm getting older, so that's what I like to see.
All good. Did you ever see the TV series that he's been doing for the last number of years called Luther, the BBC drama that Idris Elba has been doing?
Ooh, yeah, that's dark.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely some of those episodes I've had to turn off because they were a little too much for me.
A little too visceral for you?
Probably.
Here's how about this? Have you ever seen a movie that he was in? It was an ensemble piece that Idris Elba was in. It came out about 10-15 years ago. It's called Takers, about a group of bank robbers. It was him and Hayden Christensen and who else was in it? I'm trying to think. Paul Walker was in it. Did you ever see that movie called Takers? It's a bank robbery movie. Did you ever hear of it? Well, feel free to take a look at it because it's an action, crime thriller, and it's rated PG-13 if I'm not mistaken. And Idris Elba plays the leader of the crew. Of the bank robbery crew. So you might like it.
That sounds fun. That kind of movie I like.
Yeah, it's a heist movie.
Yeah, I like a heist.
All right, well, then feel free to look up the movie Takers. Takers. Takers.
Okay.
I believe it came out in 2010, I want to say. So you like I said, you're going to have to go back a bit, but it was 2010, 2011, somewhere around there.
I have access to pretty much all the streaming services. Not Netflix. Once they stop the sharing, I'm not allowed to share anymore, and so I just stopped getting them in protest.
Oh dear. Be careful, folks.
Yes, I know. My one-woman protest of Netflix. It's really going to bring down the company.
Netflix is the only place I can watch. Well, no. Streaming wise, it's the only place where people can watch Seinfeld. But for me, since I'm still a proponent of physical media, I have Seinfeld on DVD, so I can go back and watch it whenever I want. Plus, there's a Seinfeld YouTube channel where they post clips and compilations of episodes and things of that nature. So I can just go on YouTube and watch clips. I don't even have to see the whole episode to know what's going on.
Oh, of course not.
No, I don't.
I definitely got there because they did reruns for so long. So I remember I would just
occasion.
watch Seinfeld reruns over and over and over again. Same with Simpsons. Like that's why I could quote it so well. It's like you're just watching the episodes over and over and over again.
Favorite Simpsons character?
Ooh.
What do you think?
I mean, I like Mrs. Krabappel. There's something about her that just speaks to me. Maybe it's her hardened wise ass edge.
All right. Is she correct me if I'm wrong, is she Bart's teacher, the one in the school, or who the
Yeah, she's
the
Bart's
green
teacher
sweater,
and Principal
or...
Skinner's love interest sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now I know because I haven't heard that name in so long. It's hard for me to associate what character it is. But now that you've described it to me, now I get it. Principal Skinner. All right, kids, you won't be doing this today, so don't write this on the board. For me, just because I can quote him and do impressions of him so well, it's got to be Mr. Burns.
Oh, well, yes. He's
Doing this all the time,
Yeah. I mean, he has some of the best lines because he's just so evil.
This button right here lets you go. This button right here releases the hounds.
That is a good impression.
I was trying to plan to humiliate Homer Simpson.
I did see. There you go. There's my $2.50 impression. No extra charge. So, yeah, that's the only reason I say Mr. Burns is because I can quote him pretty well. The memes or the GIFs that I send to people are funny. So it helps. And of course, the Simpsons movie from, what was it, 2003 that came out? Good Lord, I can't believe I'm saying that. The Simpsons movie is hilarious. Spider Pig does whatever Spider Pig does. I mean, come on. It's home.
Oh, no. I mean, I definitely saw that several times.
Did you?
I watched that, I think, multiple times in the theaters.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everything's all caved in. And then Burns is like, this one lets you go. This one releases the hounds. It's just, and then obviously, Bart's prank calls to Moe's Tavern, House of the Rob Roy. I mean, come on.
Yes. Do you remember the flaming Moe or the flaming Homer drink?
No, I don't. I don't remember. What happens in this episode? What's the deal? Is there a new drink that's invented because of Homer, or?
Yeah, Homer he's trying to get away from Patty and Selma, so he's just mixing alcohol, and he accidentally pours in some purple cough syrup.
No way.
It lights on fire and apparently tastes amazing. And then Moe steals his drink and calls it the Flaming Moe. But there are recipes online. I mean, without the cough syrup, because that's apparently illegal now. But you can make approximations of the Flaming Homer or the Flaming Moe. So a friend of mine, for his bachelor party, we made a little vat of them and then lit them on fire. They don't taste good.
They don't?
No, because he was just mixing like a whole bunch of random alcohol. There was like a mint in there. And bourbon.
No.
It's not good, but it's there and it lights on fire and it's pretty.
Oh my goodness gracious. I'm sorry you had to go through that experience.
It's worth it.
Wow. Okay. That's that's one for the book. Yeah, and not counting the, what do you call it, the bachelorette or the bachelor parties that you experienced, and some of those you wrote about within your book. Yeah, the one of the stories that really I thought was, and this is just a minor piece of the story here, but one of the things that stood out to me about this book is the story you went into when you were at your friends and you're at the beach, you're at the hotel, the hot tub incident. That I'm thinking, and then your girlfriends say, "Oh, we saw you. We know what's going on," and I'm just like, "Oh boy, that's gotta be humiliating, if not embarrassing." Oh Lord, But listen, this is the beauty of your book. You're candid, you're honest, you don't hold anything back. You're just telling people, hey, this is what happened. This is what the reaction was for people who were present and accounted for at the event that happened, right? Because when you wrote this is the honest truth. You're not sugarcoating it. So
no, I write all the things that happened. Most of the time, I don't come out looking that great. I mean, sometimes the men also don't look that great, but it's really more a story about how I make poor decisions, consistently make poor decisions, and only in retrospect realize, oh no, I've done something wrong. So yes, I am very candid, and my mom did read my book, and she said she
Oh
had some
no.
trouble with it.
Oh no, because you wrote about your mom too, and how she's like, "Oh, you'll find a man," and then a couple of years later, she's like, "If you don't find a man by this age, we're not gonna do X, Y,
Pay
and
for
Z.
my wedding, yeah.
You're not gonna pay for your wedding."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh no!" Like, what? Yeah, that's something I probably should have asked earlier. But yeah, what was your family's reaction when the truth finally came out?
I mean, they've all known that I like to write, so I think they were very happy that I was able to get a book out there. Like, they were very proud of me, which was
Mhm.
nice. They were very appreciative of my
That's good.
success. My mom and sister both read it, and like I said, my mom had she said it was hard for her, but she appreciated it and thought it was well written, and is now one of my biggest supporters. Like, she shoves my book into the hands of everyone she meets. Like, her hairdresser has a copy of my book. She makes everyone buy them.
Oh my
And she'll
goodness.
just be like, you have to read my daughter's book. And just like makes everyone in her life buy my book. So that's wonderful. And she makes them write reviews, which if you guys are out there buying books and not writing reviews, I'm putting in this little plug. Please write reviews of books that you read as long as you like them. Don't give negative reviews, because that can really hurt an indie author. But if you like a book, even if you just give it 5 stars, you don't even have to write anything, but go out there, give us some stars, write a little review if you can. That really helps people. So my mom makes people write reviews. My dad has not read my book. He's not going to read my book, and I am thankful for that. And my brother is also not planning to read my book. So I'm also okay with that.
Oh dear. Yeah. When your mother brought up the ultimatum, it's like, oh yeah, you're cool. You'll find someone. And then and then she drops that number on you. If you don't find the Mr. Right by this age, we're not paying for your wedding. You're done. You're screwed.
Yes.
But now, believe me, correct me if I'm wrong. Was the number 32 that she said if you don't find a man by 32, or a love interest by what age was it that she gave you the limit
I
for?
think she said 30, but that so
Was it-
initially it was 30, but then it was they were retiring. And so
Oh,
then it
that
became
point.
like, when we retire
Yes.
and we sell the house, like
Oh, okay.
we're
We're
got this money, we're gonna start using it in our retirement for fun things. So yeah, and I mean, to their credit, they've been enjoying their retirement, and they did help me with the down payment on my condo. So they said that they would convert it to a condo fund, and they did help me by giving me some money for a condo fund. So I did not have a wedding, but they gave me money for my condo. So I really can't complain. They were very generous.
Condo. I wish I had one of those things. But congratulations. That's great. That's awesome. Do you just, not to get too into the weeds here, do you ever feel like there's a wedding for you somewhere down the line? Or you're just kind of like at that point where, weddings don't matter to me. I'm just here for the ride known as life. I don't really care anymore. I'm just curious. I mean, and by the way, I'm not judging when I ask you this question. I'm just being honest. Like, do you feel like you're going to be meant for marriage? Is that something that you would eventually want in your life? You just feel like, you know what? I have a book out. I got all these wonderful things going on. I don't need anything else. How do you feel about marriage?
I think like 5 years ago, when I thought I still might have kids, like I thought I was looking for a husband and a father for my children, and that stuff mattered quite a bit to me. So I did want to get married. Now that I'm 43 now, so I'm definitely aged out of wanting to have children. Probably biologically couldn't. I don't know, but definitely not planning to have kids now. And since I don't want to have children, I don't really care about marriage. So if I was with a partner who wanted to get married, I absolutely would. But if I'm with a partner who does not want to get married, I'm also okay with that. I don't have strong opinions one way or the other. Do you think you want to get married?
Oh, great. See, now this is, once again, I feel like sometimes the guest just likes to turn the tables on the host and producer and make it all make it about them more so than the actual guest. And this,
I'm a middle child. I don't love the spotlight on me all the time,
No,
so I have to put it on you.
Here's the thing about my family. Like I told you earlier, I have 2 older brothers, right? Kevin's the middle one. I'm the youngest. So I'm the one who got away with everything. I'm the one who did a couple of things that I probably shouldn't have, that I talked about in the backstage area of the show that we're not going to talk about here. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, nice job, guys. You could have taken more liberties with that and made sure that that didn't happen, but it happened anyway. But then again, we all learn in our own unique way, Jana. But outside of that, what was, I even forget, what was the question? Do I want to give it? I'm not opposed to it, but then again, I've come to the point where I'm just kind of like, here, this is such a complicated question. First of all, let me preface this by saying this. I respect everybody out there who has feelings or beliefs about marriage, monogamy, or maybe not monogamy, whatever. You live your life the way you want to live your life. That's what I'm going to preface this by saying. But in my opinion, this is just my opinion. I am not opposed to getting married. I am not. However, I'm not getting any younger. My hope has kind of gone, as I've stated to Jana before, my hope has kind of gone downhill. And I just don't see Lois Lane popping out of the Daily Planet and being like, hey, who's this new guy? Oh, I'm Clark Kent. How you doing? And then it just oozes from there, because that's not life. That's Hollywood. That's not real life. I mean, listen, if I were working for a metropolitan newspaper and I was wearing these glasses and I look ridiculously good looking as I do now, and someone walked out and told me that her name was Lois Thompson, Lois whatever, like if someone actually said that their name was Lois XYZ, I would have been like, okay, this has got to be a sign. This has got to be a sign. Even Jerry dated a woman named Lois. All right. Jerry dated a woman named Lois. Now, if it can happen for him, why not me? I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joshing you. That's fantasy land. But at the end of the day, I am not opposed to falling in love with somebody, getting married, having our own place, starting over, starting a new chapter of our lives. And that's fine. But my hope is just, it's kind of like non-existent at this point. I feel like the glass, what's the expression? The glass could be either half full or half empty. My glass is pure emptiness right now. I've kind of been, hope isn't really big on my list, to be perfectly honest with you. I've been through some struggles behind the scenes that don't encompass the show. The show is great. I love what I'm doing. The show is what makes me happy. Doing podcasting every weekend, Jana, that makes me happy. When I'm writing my short stories, as I explained to you earlier, that makes me happy. That's awesome. I don't mind that because it's fun. It's a people need outlets. They need outlets. For me, it's this show that you're watching or listening to right now. A second part of that is writing. Writing is fun, and it should be. I don't think it should be a chore. It should be freaking fun, period. But as far as finding Mrs. Right, I've been very unsuccessful. The hope is pretty much dwindled at this point, and I'm going through some stuff behind the scenes that I will not get into on the show because I do my best to keep things upbeat around here. And I'm just kind of like, what's the point? So I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm not opposed to it, but I just don't see it happening at all, much less anytime soon. But life has a funny way of playing tricks on you. So who knows? Maybe at the conclusion of this interview, we'll start getting phone calls. I'll start getting DMs on our Instagram account, which you can find right here on my name tag. You see that right there? It's right there. People will start DMing and be like, hey guy, what's up? Where are you at? You want to, by the way, it's my horrible impression of Ryan Gosling's gif or meme where he says, hey girl.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
So
I do.
Listen, if you're going to work for Ryan Gosling, why not me? But we'll see what happens. I'm not opposed to it, but we'll see what happens.
You just got to take time off. I definitely, like I said, I struggled with an eating disorder, went through a lot of depression. I took like 4 years off of dating. So sometimes you just need to take time off and come back, throw yourself in, and then make completely different mistakes.
Yes, most likely so. But yes, it's going better. Not to get into too much into the weeds here, but I am going through a bit of a rough patch. Not just with the dating thing, but just a couple of other things in general that we won't talk about on the show. But the good news is, this is fun. Podcasting is fun. Writing is fun. For Jana, writing can be fun. Once she gets around to writing a new book or subject matter, whenever you decide to do it is up to you. I'm not going to say you have a deadline to meet, because I don't think unless the publisher tells you you're on a deadline, that's a different story. Because as we all know, sometimes publishers can be a pain in the rump.
Yeah,
but then again,
I have to say, being an indie author has its pros and cons, but they don't really impose a lot of deadlines on you.
No, and I was going to say, unless they impose a deadline, that's when the pressure really starts to cook on you, and then you're like, okay, I got to get this done. By the way, I don't mind deadlines because I've written 2 stories, one of which is in the process of being edited and revised and all that kind of jazz, that I'm going to submit to a local writing contest in the Delaware, Maryland, Virginia area for the Fitzgerald Festival that we saw advertised at the Gaithersburg Book Festival earlier this year. So that deadline's coming up next week. So I have my friends in the Discord are going over it, giving me critiques and feedback, and they've given me a lot of it. But now one of my other friends within the Discord is going to do some editing of it, and then they're going to come back and we're going to have a meeting about it and go over it together. And then I'm going to submit it for the contest. So wish us luck, guys. Wish us luck.
Yeah, good luck.
It's a coming of age sword and sorcery story, and the rules of this short story contest that's being held in the Delaware, Maryland, Virginia area that's open to those residents has to be 4,000 words or less, and the deadline is June 30th for the Fitzgerald Writing Festival, I believe is what it's called. If I'm phrasing that incorrectly, please correct me in the chat. But that's coming up. I submitted a Western short story for an anthology. They not to get anyone's hopes up, but they did send me an email a couple weeks ago after the submission deadline had, happened or surpassed. Said, hey, just so you know, your story made it through the first round of selection. So we're gonna go over these again. Gonna make final selections. We'll let you know, but stay tuned. Keep an eye on your inbox.
That's very cool.
So there you go. I may have a Western fiction short story being part of a anthology.
That's awesome. And keep writing. I mean, regardless of that, just keep doing it if it makes you happy.
Well, yeah, because you're writing, stuff and stories in different environments and different settings that are not your own. You're just it's kind of like that old saying from different shows that we watched when we were kids. Let your imagination run wild.
Yeah.
Use your imaginations, because all we gotta do is take a look. It's in a book. See what I did there? There's a plug. Please tell me you know where I'm coming from with that. You do know where that comes from, right?
Is that the Reading Rainbow?
There it is. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
Take a look. It's in a book. A Reading Rainbow. Come on. It's a great.
Yeah, I
theme
didn't have a
song.
lot of exposure. Again, whatever my brother watched, that's what I did.
Man,
We didn't Reading Rainbow for us.
Well, let me ask you a bonus question. Did your brother ever watch pro wrestling? Did he make you watch pro wrestling?
Oh, we watched a lot of wrestling. We would
gosh.
we spent a lot of time practicing the moves.
Really? The
pile
pedigree, the
drivers,
rock bottom, the people's elbow, the choke slam, the tombstone pile driver?
Yes. Nothing with the folding chairs, though. I think that's where my
No
parents
steel
drew the
chairs.
line. Yes.
Did you ever go to wrestling events? Like live shows? Did you ever go to a SmackDown, a Monday Night Raw, a WCW Monday Nitro, or a Thunder?
I never did. I think I was too young, but I think that would have been a lot of fun. I would have enjoyed that.
Have
you been to like a WrestleMania?
Yeah. Well, I haven't been to WrestleMania, but I've been to pay-per-views that were produced by WWE. I've been to house shows that were produced by WWE. So I've been to, I've never been to a Monday Night Raw, but I've been to a SmackDown / Velocity taping. I've been to house shows. I've been to No Way Out, the pay-per-view. I've been to No Mercy, the pay-per-view. I've held up a sign in the audience during one of the pay-per-views. It may have gotten on camera. I don't remember because it was so long ago. It was in the early 2000s that this occurred, just so you're aware. But yeah, I've been to pay-per-views, been to SmackDowns, and they were a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, at the house shows, it's a bit more of an intimate experience because the wrestlers, if you're sitting in the first couple of rows, they'll come up to you and, give you high fives or shake your hand. So I was yelling towards the end of a match. Edge and Rey Mysterio Jr., two very popular superstars in WWE, were going up towards the ramp when their match was concluded. And I said, Edge, 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 Edge. And then finally he turns around. He sees that I'm wearing an Edge t-shirt. And him and Rey Mysterio run right back, shakes my hand, gives me a high five. And then Rey Mysterio gave me a 5. And he was like, thanks for coming, man. We appreciate it. I'm like, you're welcome. You guys are awesome. Congratulations on being the world tag champs. So that was cool. That was cool. And when I've been going to these conventions for 14 years, I've been going to Comic-Cons for 14 years, Jana. And I've met pro wrestlers at these events. I've met Kevin Nash, Sting, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Whoa. I've met Christian. I've met, Mick Foley was on the same floor that I was staying at a hotel in one time when we were at a show in Lexington, Kentucky.
Oh, that's cool.
He was on the same floor.
You've had so many brushes with celebrity.
Oh my gosh, I've met tons, and I met a lot of the members, not all of them, but I met a lot of members of the cast of Smallville. I've met members of the cast of, different movies or TV series. I've met. Trying to think, I met Jim Henson's cartoonist, Guy Gilchrist, a good friend of Jim Henson's.
That's cool.
And he's been on the show in the past. He interacted with me as Kermit at one point because he has a Kermit, replica of the Kermit, Muppet. And he interacted with me as Kermit during the last 5 or 10 minutes of the interview. So you can go back and watch that tape. I'll send you the link so you can see it because that melted my heart. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm 4 or 5 years old again. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. We've had Guy Gilchrist on the show. We've had Bill Sadler, who played Death, the Grim Reaper in the Bill and Ted movies. From way back when, the guy with the white head, the shaved white head, best 7. Damn right. That was him. I had him on the show. I've met the Power Ranger actors like Austin St. John, Walter Jones, Karen Ashley, Catherine Sutherland, Johnny Young Bosch, Steve Cardenas, Jason Font, Aaron Cahill, Dan Southworth.
So many more Power Rangers than I could name.
Well, here's the thing. Power Rangers have been going on for 30 seasons and 30 years, Jana. Did you know that?
I did not. Wow. Wow.
30 years, 30 seasons, 25 teams of Rangers. That's hundreds of Rangers, Jana. Hundreds.
So many.
And I've met a lot of them. Not all of them, of course, but I've met the ones that I grew up on as a kid. So I met the cast of Mighty Morphin and Zeo and Turbo. In space, I met Christopher Kamen Lee. I met Patrick David, who was the psycho Red Ranger. The evil, version of a Red Ranger. He was, I've met him. I've met Princess Shayla, Anne-Marie Crouch from Wild Force. Met Philip Andrew, who was the Lunar Wolf Ranger from Wild Force. I mean, Power Rangers, very, very good to me. Comic-Con, very, very good to me. So well, let me ask you this. Are you willing to go to a Comic-Con? Would you ever go to one if we invited you to join us?
I mean, I think the Comic-Con sounds like a lot of fun. And I have a lot of respect for people who can do like really good cosplay. I love that stuff.
You're going to find that a lot of these, like 99, if not 100% of the time, you're going to find someone somewhere is going to be dressed up as a character.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I mean, I listen to a lot of, not a lot, but I listen to several comedy Dungeons and Dragons podcasts. So I know they hit up the Comic-Cons. So yeah, that stuff interests me. I'm always curious about who's at these things.
Well, we met Bonnie Gordon. Has been she's the voice of the ship's computer on Star Trek Prodigy. And she's been on our show. She's a singer, an actress, and she loves D&D. So she shared with us some of her experiences, what it was like to sing songs that were inspired by her time as a D&D player and things of that nature. Because she and a friend of hers have a little band called the Library Bards, which is hilarious.
Cool.
She does a song called D&D, which is a riff on AC/DC's It's Dynamite, D&D, which reminds me, favorite bands or musicians?
Ooh, that changes so often.
What do you like to listen to? What is it?
I like pop with pretty much if I can dance to it. So it has to have a good beat.
Good beat.
So I don't really like a lot of slow stuff. I'm not really into like slow jamming, but if it's got a good beat and I can like go to the club and dance to it, I'm pretty much going to like it. Anything 90s. So like Decades. 90s. I don't know if you know the bar Decades in downtown DC, but it's different floors for different decades of music.
Really?
And so my favorite thing every year on my birthday, I drag my friends. I don't drag. They like to dance, thankfully. But we go to Decades and we hit up the 90s floor and we're just park ourselves on the 90s floor all night and just dance to 90s music. 90s hip hop, 90s pop, all of that stuff. NSYNC,
Backstreet Boys, New Kids on the Block, In Excess, Eagles, stuff like that. Maybe I don't know if this is really your taste. You say yourself you don't really like slow moving music, but you ever heard of Sade? Sade, smooth operator. He's a smooth operator. You ever like that one?
Yeah, I don't know if I like it so much as I've heard it enough that I know it.
Because it's a good song. It really is. I mean, it's a good slow dance song to a certain extent. To a certain extent, but I get it.
I will say there are slow songs that I like, but for the most part, I'm always going to choose something with like a good beat that I can really just like move around to.
How about Gloria Estefan's Conga? Do you like that one?
Oh yeah, great song.
Go on, shake it, baby, do that conga. No, you can control yourself any longer. Feel the rhythm of the music getting stronger. No, you can control yourself any longer. Come on, like if you're not dancing to that, we got issues. Come on.
I totally agree.
that is a very awesome, tacular song that's 40 plus years young, but still never dies.
So good. It makes me want to go someplace tropical.
Well, in my place, in my case, one of the things that, even though this place isn't considered tropical by any stretch, but it still means a lot to me and to my family and I is Ocean City. So I can go
Yeah,
to
I
Ocean
love
City.
Ocean City.
Yeah, you've been to Ocean City, right? We could go to Ocean City any day of the week, twice on Sunday, and it's my home away from home. If those of you who live in Maryland or the DC area and you've been to Ocean City, you know what I'm talking about. Whether it's Secrets, whether it's Jolly Roger Amusement Park, whether it's General's Kitchen on 71st. You got Grotto Pizza on 125th. All right. Grotto Pizza, legendary taste. It's in Ocean City now, not just Fenwick, Bethany, and Rehoboth. All right. You got that. You got the bike rentals on the boardwalk. You got the sunrises, you got beach volleyball.
Pizza to go. Do you remember their 90s commercial that was a riff on So I Married an Axe Murderer?
What was this called again? I'm sorry.
Pizza to go.
Well, Pizza to go. Yeah. Or was it also called Pizza to goes at one point?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm familiar with it.
For a while, their commercial, you know how in So I Married an Axe Murderer, Mike Myers' character is always doing like spoken word poetry kind of stuff.
I know the movie. I've never seen it.
Oh, so he does a big part of his character is he does a lot of spoken word poetry. And so
really?
Pizza to Go's totally ripped off one of his poems. And so I forget what the whole commercial was, but at the end of the commercial, they say, I was too late. It was all 8. I was sad. And that's like a rip off of one of his poems. It's very good. I remember in the 90s, I was like, I have to go to Pizza to Go's. I love that commercial.
Wow. This is news to me. Once again, I'm familiar with this movie. I've heard a lot about it over the years. It's Mike Myers.
Very good movie. Highly recommend it.
Mike Myers. I haven't seen it yet. Jana, I will sit down and watch this, and then I'll email or text you, however we go about it, and I'll let you know how it was.
Yes, so. And then I will send you the Pizza to Go's commercial, so you
please
can
do. No, please do. By all means, please do. I remember, and this is for those of you who grew up in the early, when we were kids. In Ocean City, this is something they really don't do much anymore. They still do it, but they don't do it nearly as much, or they don't do it in the way that I remember it as a kid, because I know things evolve, things have changed over time. When we go to Ocean City, one of the first things we would, after we get our stuff unpacked and we get ready to go and kind of get settled in, if you know what I mean, we would turn on the TV and make sure we put on channel 12 or channel 11, whatever it was, RVG, the Resort Video Guide, because you would have DJ Batman, you would have
DJ Batman,
yes, DJ Batman. You remember, DJ Batman. You would have Barry the Stallion Strive telling you where to go at Secrets every week, or telling you all the hot bars and hip clubs to go to every week. As always, the Stallion's #1 rated hotspot, Anthony's Beer, Wine, and Deli. He would do all these spots, and we would watch this, and then the logo would come on, and it's like, and it would play the same 50 ads for all the different restaurants, all the different, shops and markets and the outlets. You remember the outlets, right? There's the outlets, there's the Kite Loft, there's Anthony's Beer, Wine, and Deli on 33rd Street with DJ Rad. Remember DJ Rad? This is DJ Rad coming to you live from Anthony's Beer, Wine, and Deli. We got the best sandwiches on the beach. You know what I'm saying? So and then you got Candy Kitchen, and then there was Phillips Seafood Crab House. Like all this stuff would come on TV, and my brothers and my mom and my dad would always make sure that we were watching that channel at any point during the day. When we weren't on the beach and hanging out outside, we were inside, Jana. That's what we would be watching. Do you remember the Resort Video Guide by any chance?
Yeah, vaguely. I don't think we were as religious about watching it as you guys.
It's okay. Every family is different. But yeah, there was. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. What were some of your favorite spots to visit when you're in Ocean City, or favorite restaurants that you like, I have to eat there, or I have to go to this place and pick up a bag of so-and-so?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Nick's Original House of Ribs.
There you go. Yeah.
That was definitely like our favorite spot. We liked Phillips, good seafood. We would always get one night, we would always do a night of just takeaway crabs and just hang out in the condo and just smash crabs all night. There was a really good Mexican place. It's not there anymore, but La Hacienda had really good.
Oh,
Mexican. Yeah. What about you? What are your hot spots?
I can't believe it. Once again, our guest likes to turn the tables on the producer. So I like General's Kitchen. Love General's Kitchen. I don't know if you've never.
Did you get the chipped beef?
Here's the thing. Never did, but everyone else in my family has.
Okay. I've never had chipped beef, but I know that was their thing, and it doesn't sound great.
To me, it doesn't sound great either, but my family has had it. They enjoyed it. But for me, General's Kitchen, because I mean, granted, you can find these anywhere, but at the same time, when you go to General's Kitchen, it's a bit of a different atmosphere. waffles, pancakes, bagels toast with cream cheese, ice cold milk to wash it down with. Yes, I know that sounds silly, but that's the thing I drink in the morning is ice cold milk. For breakfast, it builds strong bones and helps prevent osteoporosis. So I'll be having that, and then my favorite places to go were Grotto Pizza before they had a place open in Ocean City, because before it was just a Delaware thing, and then they moved it they branched out, right? So they came into Maryland, right? I think it's on 123rd or 125th Street on Coastal Highway. Grotto Pizza's there. There's also a Grotto Pizza in Columbia, Maryland.
What's there?
Now I have not been there to that location yet, but one of these days I hope to visit it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, Columbia. If anyone's familiar with the Columbia area and you've been to the Grotto Pizza out there, let us know in the comments of the chat. I'm curious to hear your 2 cents. But anyway, those are some of the, and then I'm trying to think of what other Layton's.
Oh, yeah, okay.
92nd. My brothers like to go to Bull on the Beach.
Yes.
On 94th. That is their cheers. That is their hangout. Every time they go, that is the first place they hit up is Bull on the Beach.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with Bull on the Beach, but that is a very hip hot spot for peeps to go to and have a good time with.
I mean, we passed by it all the time. I've never been in.
Feel free. It's not too shabby. I've been in there once or twice in my life / career, and it's not bad. Granted, you've seen a lot of things you would see in any other bar, but at the same time, Ocean City is very unique. So check out the Bull on the Beach. You may enjoy it. It's right by the Princess Royale Hotel. And then, because when we were a family, we would used to stay at places like the Princess Royale, and we would have a place on 64th Street. We'd go across the street to 64th Street Market, which is where West Coast Video was on the Bay Side, which is where we rented all our videotapes. Hello, the Wizard. It's not there anymore, unfortunately. Video stores have gone the way of the dodo. But what other place? I like going to Jolly Roger amusement park because I like Speed World. I love go-karts. You like go-karts?
Yeah, I do.
I think go-karts are great. When you pull a Tom Cruise and you say, "I feel the need for speed." Ow! That's granted, they only go like 20, 30, 40 miles an hour, but when I'm going, X amount of miles an hour in a go-kart, I feel like I'm in an episode or in the movie Days of Thunder. You ever see Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise? You ever see that?
I have not, no.
It's a NASCAR movie. It's really good. You should check it out. This is like old school Tom Cruise right here. Think of it as Top Gun on wheels. It's literally Top Gun on wheels. It's literally the same plot. But it's really good. And it's got Nicole Kidman in it before those two got married.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman worked on Far and Away and Days of Thunder before they got married. There you go.
Look at that.
Yeah. Fun fact about Hollywood. Hello. What other places am I missing here? Trying to think if I'm missing anything. Ponzetti's.
Oh, I don't know that one.
All right. Well, Ponzetti's Pizzeria is on 143rd. It's at the very edge of town.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know that one.
All right. You're gonna have to do some Googling, but it's there. Pizza Two Goes. We've had that before. There's this other place. It was on 115th. I can't remember the name of it. Gosh darn it, this is gonna kill me. There was a place on 113th called Three Brothers Pizza. Think about it. Was it Three Brothers or was it? I think it was. May have been Three Brothers or something like that. Something related to that. But that was fun. And a couple of shopping centers. And obviously, when I was a little kid, I like going to the Kite Loft.
Yeah, I liked the Kite Loft. It's a good way to kill time if you have kids.
Yeah. Did you like going to the kite? Did you ever fly some kites when you were younger? When you were at the beach?
Oh yeah, we would always go out and fly kites on the beach at night.
Oh, at night! Wow.
Yeah, or I guess at dusk. It was still light out, but it would be like before dinner.
Hard to see it at night.
Yeah, before dinner, but after everyone was off the beach.
All right, I got to ask you this. This is a deep cut. What was the last kite you remember flying, and what was the design of it? What did it look like?
Ooh, our kites were fairly generic. So I think it was just like triangular, diamond shaped, probably just like rainbow colors with a long rainbow tail.
Oh, okay. So, all right. General ones, generic.
Yeah, very generic. What about you?
Batman.
Did you guys do Batman?
We had a Batman kite. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was yellow and blue. So it was very reminiscent of the 60s era of the comic book. Not the TV show, but the comic book.
Was it diamond or was it like Batman?
It was like it was circular. It was the bat signal, so it was circular, and then it had little what do you call those things? Like the waves or the strings that were floating in the wind, like the ladder pieces of the bat signal.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had a Batman. I can't believe I'm saying this. We had a Batman kite. We had the little green army men, action figures, the little soldiers, the ones you carry around with you in the little baggie. We had the
Mhm.
tank and stuff. Obviously, we built sand castles. We had the buckets, the sand buckets. You know what I mean? The little plastic
Mhm.
ones that you're given when you're a little itty bitty little youngin'.
Mhm.
So we had those, and we also did. I don't know if you're familiar with this at all. Did you ever hear of a business that was out there called Telescope Pictures, where they would take your picture and turn them into a little
Oh yeah.
little telescope thing you can put on a keychain? Do you remember those?
Yeah, I think I still have one.
You still have one?
Yeah.
Wow. By the way, we still have ours. We still have our telescope pictures. All of them are intact. After my mom and dad unfortunately passed away, we made sure that we kept all of those in a one place, so we didn't have to, go all over the house looking for them when I moved out and had to take my mom's things after she tragically passed away. So we do have all that. So don't worry. Got all the telescope pictures. I don't think we have the kite is gone. The little green army men are gone. Some of the toys we had when we were little youngins are gone. But the good news is telescope pictures never die.
No, there's something very sweet about those. Nowadays, everyone has their camera everywhere they go. So,
Well, not only that, they have a thing called a smartphone that can take better pictures than a camera. So
yes. Well, yes, that's what I mean. Their cameras are in their phones, so they're never without a camera.
yeah, it's kind of strange when we go down to the beach. And I'm sure you may experience this too when you go down to Ocean City. You don't see the telescope picture people roaming around anymore, really.
No,
Like,
'cause who's gonna pay for a
I know,
picture now?
I know that phase is, unfortunately, it's come and gone.
Yeah.
It's gone
Yeah,
the
but
way of
that's
the dodo.
okay. I mean, this way you're taking a picture with your phone, you can actually see what you look like and then delete the picture immediately.
Yeah, if you don't like the way I looked in this light, Jana, we could just, I could just delete it. Or if Jana didn't like the way she may have been presented in a certain picture when she was taken at the beach, she can be like, you know what? Let's do this again, ladies. All right, ladies, let's do it again. 3 of us doing
Mhm.
the pose now. All right, come on.
Yes.
But this is gonna sound like a silly question. You ever do the pose when you're at the beach or a getaway with friends and family where you like jump up in the air and they take the picture when you're like jumping up in midair?
Never done that at the beach. I went to Iceland last year with some friends and we did that, but we were in so many layers of clothes.
You went to Iceland? Oh my gosh.
Yes. Yeah, that was a fun trip. Highly recommend.
Hmm. Hmm. Any other places on your bucket list you haven't visited yet that you want to visit?
Oh gosh. I mean, I've never been anywhere in Asia. I would love to go to Asia.
Sure.
A friend just invited me to the Maldives, so I'm going to the Maldives later this year. So that's very
Really?
exciting.
Wow. Take lots of pictures for us.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Never been anywhere over there. And I'd love to go on safari in Africa someday.
Oh.
That's a dream.
Yeah. Bring plenty of sunscreen and wear that safari hat, young lady.
Yes, yes, and lots of anti-malarials.
What? Yes, that's another thing we got to be watchful for during out of state or out of country travels. Please be safe when you do these kind of things. Don't end up like Ace Ventura: Pet Detective when nature calls and get caught in the middle of an elephant. You have to dig your way out of it. You ever see that movie, Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls?
Oh, yes,
That
yes. I had a
scene is
very
so.
brief crush on Jim Carrey, so
Oh, you had a bit
yeah.
of a Hollywood crush on Jimmy Boy back in the heyday. Okay, I see where
Yeah,
you're
back when
going.
I was in high school, that was definitely a thing. Don't know why that was a thing, but that was a thing.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, one of my favorite movies is Ace Ventura: Pet Detective because when I first started quoting movies to my classmates when I was in school, I started quoting movies since I was 6. So when I was 6 years old, I was watching movies like Aladdin and Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, and I would start reciting the quotes and the words to my friends in my class, and they were laughing along with me. Some of the time they maybe even laughing at me because I was bullied a lot as a kid. But I think for the most part they were laughing with me because they knew that those films are so hilarious that I could just quote them better than anybody. And then sometimes I would be quoting Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't know if you remember that one,
Yeah,
but I do voices. I would do that scene, and they would love it. So I've been quoting movies for 30 plus years, Jan. I have no regrets.
oh, that's good. It's working for you. Look where you
Mhm.
are.
Yeah, I don't know if it helps me in the dating department, but hey, if some woman out there enjoys that kind of stuff, let us know in the comments or just DM me on Instagram. That's all I'm going to say. Let's keep it safe, guys. Folks, with all due respect, if you know what I mean. Um,
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, don't keep it safe or respectful. Go for it.
all right, well there you go. Take Jana's advice. Don't listen to me because I clearly know nothing about life. Jana knows way more than
Mhm.
I do. She's got 5 more years of experience on this than I do. So just saying. I'm just saying. It's age age is just a number, but with age comes wisdom. So
Absolutely. I've had a lot of experiences for sure.
well, if you read her book, which good Lord, I'm reading this book and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've read some honest statements from people before, but this is just in my face. Candid, honest, doesn't hold anything back, tells me the story, tells me what they've learned from it, and we move on to the next chapter. And by the way, one of the best things about your book, it moves very quickly, very, very quickly. Each chapter is only a couple pages long. You talk about a certain story, a certain person, whatever the circumstances were at that time. I'm like, okay, I got you. So this happened. And then I go to the next chapter. Oh, so that happened. But then I'm thinking to myself, there's a bit of a pattern emerging, I think.
Yeah.
Because this happened, and then this happened, and then this correlates to this, and that correlates to that. I'm thinking, wait a minute. Why do I feel like this is going somewhere? And then at the end, you go over your explanation and everything. I don't want to give away too many spoilers because I want to encourage you to go out and get a copy of the book, check out the book, read the book, leave an honest review, put it on Goodreads, put it on Amazon. Hashtag always support your friends. That's what we do here at Anti-Quote Channel, because we're supporting you, Jana, and we're happy to continue doing it.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, I'm like, man, I can't get this stuff in a rom-com or some of the other movies I've seen. This is like straight up. I mean, some of those movies like are surface level, but you were just like, no, we're gonna bear it all, and we're gonna tell you how it is right now.
Yeah, I didn't try to distort things to make anyone look good. Like, there's a lot of times when no one comes out the victor in these stories, and that's okay. I mean, that's honestly, like that's what dating is it's a lot of just putting yourself out there and getting shot down, or just maybe even kind of cutting off your knees, cutting yourself off at the knees, just in general. Like you really didn't give yourself a chance. And I feel like I did that in a lot of my earlier experiences. I didn't choose well to begin with, so I never gave myself a chance to have good relationships for probably the first like 6 years I was dating. But you live, you learn, you write a book.
And pretty soon it'll be a New York Times bestseller.
Yes. Well, now that I've got this bump, right? This is going to totally boost my sales.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Because like I said, we do our best to support all the indie creators and indie writers out in the world. And speaking of which, we got a show later tonight on here on June the 21st, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's called the Writer's Showcase, where we gather a group of writers of different genres together. We ask them a series of questions, and we talk about the writing process, some of the positives, the negatives, advice we would give to other writers out there that are, starting to, dig their heels in, get in the trenches a little bit, aspiring writers, whatever you want to call it. It's going down this weekend. It'll be going down tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So you may want to tune in for that and enjoy it. Jana, if you want, I'll send you the links. You can tune in, say hi to us, maybe ask a question or two of our writers, because like I said, they're different writers with different genres, so you never know. Possibilities are endless. But with that being said, I do want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much to Jana for being our guest on this episode of Anti-Quote for this week. Jana, can you believe it's been over 2 hours since we started this broadcast?
Ooh, no, I can't, but I am getting hungry, so maybe.
It's, for some of us around here, may or may not be lunchtime. But I do want to say thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure having you and getting to know you a little bit better and hear about your story, what was the inspiration behind this book, and all the great things you're doing. If someone wants to know more about you or buy a copy of your book, where can they follow you?
They can follow me. I'm author Jana Eisenstein on Instagram. I'm not super active on social, so you can also, I have the paperback and a Kindle version and an audiobook available on Amazon. You can also, paperback's also available on bookshop.org if you want to support local bookshops. And my audiobook is also available on Spotify.
Great stuff. Well, thank you so much, Jana, for being with us. I'm going to talk to you here again momentarily, so stay tuned. Don't go anywhere just yet. Or if you need to grab a cup of coffee, feel free. But my name is Ryan of Anti-Quote Channel. You can follow me on all forms of social media. Where am I pointing to? Where is it? There it is. There it is. Right there. At Anti-Quote Channel. That's where you can keep up to date with all the wonderful things we got going on here at the channel. We are on the road to 5,000 subscribers. We're getting so close. Once we do, we'll throw a great big live stream that will include returning favorites. Jana's invited to come back and hang out with us. And we'll have special giveaways that you, the person who's watching or listening to this right now, are going to be eligible to win. Also, we got merch. That's right. We got shirts. We got hoodies. We got stickers you can add to your water bottles. We got coffee mugs. We got all kinds of wonderful things. Stationery. We got bed sheets. All kinds of wonderful stuff. That's anti-quote themed or movie quote inspired. So check all that out. It's in a Redbubble store. Link is in the link tree, which can be found in the description below or in our social media bios. So you can definitely, excuse me, check that out there. Once again, Writer Showcase is on Saturday, June the 21st, tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're watching this live, you want to join us for the next element of programming, please do. Bring your questions. Tell your writer friends to join us. Tell Jana to jump in the chat rooms with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Movie watch-alongs are every second, third, and fourth Friday of each month, respectively, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And then that quote is normally on Saturdays, 12 p.m. Eastern. So check all that out there. If you missed any of the episodes, you can always go back to our playlist. You can find all our episodes there, catch up on some of the great interviews, some of the wonderful guests we've had, including this one. Because Jana is no exception to the rule that we aim to please, we have fun, and it's a great time, and we invite you to come back and join us again soon. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified of when the videos go up or they go live. And remember, life is better when supporting indie creators from all over the world. Take a look at this.
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.